Jerusalem. Hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, no. Sitting on an album that'll change my life. Should I drop it? I feel the pressure. The Father is watching. I had to revise it. I was getting off topic. Started feeling myself. I was getting too cocky. If you humble yourself, you gon' be exhausted. If you speak of the Savior, that's gon' make you a target. I ain't never scared. I'm just getting well prepared. If I wanted to, I could have been famous, but that ain't even what my aim is. Inspired by brothers on them corners, trying to warn us. That's real love. That's why you will never hear me diss a camp. A couple years ago on YouTube, I remember that I wasn't living right. Did he just say Negroes are the Israelites? Would I be this if he ain't answered the call? I said, remember the servant that hid his talent? You might perish if you forget about it. Do the works, rock. Yeah, I'm from Jerusalem. Hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, they say. Where did you come from? I'm from Jerusalem. Hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, no, no. 70 AD, right before the siege, there she was, a picture of modesty. Fast forward to 2019, her secret parts are discovered. Hey. And she is a byword, but slowly she's rising again. A world without end, the mother of us all. Yahweh Shalom, Jerusalem. Oh, stay repentant. Yeah, we almost at the finish. I tell them to hold on, we going home. Yeah, I'm from Jerusalem. Hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, they say. Where did you come from? I'm from Jerusalem. Hey, we'll return again. This captivity ain't permanent, no, no.
I see in the building, Nicola, Esther in the building. That was the Rock Bar, Jerusalem. Check out that brother, DARAK dash or space rather, IBAR. The brother is on fire, right? So yes. Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. We are your humble servants and hosts for tonight. I am Kayel. Man, we have got one for you guys tonight. Again, I want you to see this artist, name, because the brother does his thing, Jerusalem. Let that play while we go out. We got a great show tonight. We are dealing with highly intellectual content. I want to warn all of you that if you are not ready to elevate your mind, to look at things from a different perspective, you will get lost tonight. But I have faith that you guys will be able to mentally do the gymnastics that we're going to have to do tonight. We are definitely about to get into some serious mental gymnastics. We're going to deal with aspects of the brain. We're going to deal with the understanding of faith, right? We're going to, yeah, I'm gonna pull this up while I'm talking. I just came up with one I should have had for you guys. This may actually be a two show thing, right? This may wind up being a two-part series, right? Because what we're going to be talking about is the power of your prayer the power of your mind, the power of your spirit. All right. So you are looking at this thing here that says a comparison of baseline to prayer. So, baseline, they are able by infrared to detect um, prayer. Yeah. Science has done a lot of things in this hour, right? One of the things that science has done is that they have tried to understand what the miracle is, what is the God particle, what is the thing, what is this uh, um, entity that created us, this spirit that's all around us, this energy all around us, and how does that energy affect us, and can we affect the things around us? That's been the thing that man has been trying to do, and they've labeled it under the category of science. Now, what you're looking at on your screen is them in their scientific method, which goes back to Sir Francis Bacon. Remember, we have to understand where everything comes from. When we look at the word science, science comes from a particular place. There's an etymology, an origin. Well, the scientific method is the doubling down of what science is. It is, what do we define science as? Right. The scientific method is the way that you would decide something in science. You would decide that it is scientifically sound or scientifically jibber jabber, that it has no proof, nothing to prove it whatsoever, right? And that scientific method is that if they can reproduce it twice in a test environment, if they can test something and it comes to the exact same thing both times that they do it, then the third time it's done, it has been scientifically proved that this happens. So if you're listening sharply, as I said, you're going to want to really put your thinking cap on tonight. What that means is that anything that they cannot prove by a man's hands and by a man being able to recreate it, it is not science. All right, understand what we're saying. According to the definition of science, if a man can't recreate it, then it's not science, it's not real, it's not validated. Well, the Most High is something that science cannot encompass. It cannot wrap its mind around it. They cannot reproduce it, because trust me, if these people could understand the entire being of the entity that created us, they will create another one for themselves. They would try. They would try to recreate it. Trust that. But for now, they follow the one that rebelled against that creator. They follow the fallen angel of Hashatan, who has told them since Adam and Eve that they could actually be the gods that created them. Yeah. Now we understand that in this physical state that we're in this physical state that we're in, we can't possibly be gods. Well, Psalms 82 tells us that we are gods. We're born to be that because we have dominion, but we're gods over this plane. Understand what I'm saying? See, there's levels to heaven. Five. There's levels to heaven. And each level has a different type of angel, or what you would call a god. One of them fell to the earth and is bound to this earth now, right? He's bound to this earth. So the man, since Adam and Eve, has been trying to prove the theory of Hashatan, the scientific theory of Hashatan, that if you have the knowledge of the gods, then you therefore are gods. See, they gave you an apple and told you the apple was the thing. They made it seem as though it was a food. But what he said directly after the apple was eaten was that you will have the knowledge. You will have the knowledge of the Most High, therefore being like the Most High. So understand this thing, science, right? This thing that we're talking about, science, is in fact, when you riddle it down to its core, it's them trying to be the Most High, the Creator. Point blank. That is what they are trying to be when they are in science. They are trying to recreate what the Most High created naturally. That's what makes it synthetic, or as we say, genetically modified organisms. Here on the screen, it shows that they have been able to quantify through a CAT scan that looks at the responses in the brain through infrared. So they can tell through infrared if something is dormant or if it is lighting up and moving. And what they were able to do while someone was inside the CAT scan machine, that person was praying, and they were able to detect brain movement, the mind. They were able to see the activity in the mind where it was not before. Keep that in mind as we go through the night. Through prayer, you will be able to ignite aspects of your brain that you cannot normally touch or ignite. Get it to go in motion. The dog is feeling some type of way. 1 second, guys. Well, all right. Well, all right. Well, all right. So what we're talking about is the fact that scientifically they have been able to, remember them trying to be gods, they have been able to quantify the fact that when a person prays, it ignites aspects of their brain. All right, let's keep that. All right. So what we are saying tonight, and by the title of our show, which is who has the power of your mind slash spirit slash state, because your mind is and goes through states. Some call it emotions, right? You have the emotions of fear and courage and anxiety and calm and all these different type of feelings, right? But those feelings come from a state. You are in a state of depression, then certain feelings come out of that state of depression. Or if you are in a state of anger, certain emotions come out of that anger. Mhm. Peace to everyone up there on Instagram. This is why they're genetically suppressing people with the 5G. Exactly. Yes, praises to the etymology of the science. So when we understand that what they are trying to quantify is what is the thing that makes us superhuman, supernatural. And when we have the title of the show, who has your mind slash spirit slash state, because it's all one thing. Your mind is where your state is. Your spirit is what is given unto you by the Most High. And in that spirit, you are able to exact whatever comes out of that state. Whatever emotion comes out of that state becomes the spirit in which you do things. And that state of mind in which you do action. So you think it before you do it. You think it before you say it. It comes in and registers no matter how fast you talk. Yes, it actually comes into your mind first. And then it comes out of your mouth. Then it comes out of your actions. And then we live the rest of that time trying to answer, make up for, or go through what we have created by the words that came from the state of mind, the spirit in which we came from. Right? So we're going to watch a video tonight that's going to talk about the power of greatness, the power of the mind, how to hijack your brain. They're coming from a scientific method of hijacking your thoughts, your state of mind, to heal yourself. To not only heal yourself, but to be successful. Not only to be successful, but to be rich. They're going to talk about things that we are going to show they got it from scripture first. We're going to show that the state that they are talking about, they skip something in the beginning. They skip where the spirit comes from. So let's go to our video and let's start as we're going to get into it, because the name of this, like I said, we are going to go on high level. So this is Neuroscientist Explains How to Unlock the Power of the Mind. We here on Hebrew State of Being, we're explaining that the power of your mind is the spirit of your mind. The power of your mind is the spirit of your mind. They're going to try and quantify the power as you having the power by changing your mind. And we're saying, yes, we are in agreement with that here at Hebrew State of Being. It is upon you. As my sister always says, and many others say, the Most High is waiting upon us. The power to unlock our true capabilities is us. The Most High is waiting on us. The power is waiting on us. The covenant is waiting upon us. So as it's going to explain here, through neuroscientists, right, that the unlocking of your mind is you making the choices to put your mind in a state. So let's go.
The old narrative 10 years ago was that if you're feeling depressed, just smile. Well, if that worked,
right,
we would have a lot less depression than we see out there.
Right. I think you got to have a dream.
The School of Greatness.
Really? Yeah.
Please welcome Lewis Howes.
Welcome back. I'm one of the School of Greatness podcast. I'm super excited about our guest today, Andrew Huberman in the house. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks.
Very excited. You are a neuroscientist, professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology, which is the hardest word to say, at Stanford. You run a lab, Huberman Lab, which is primarily studying brain states such as fear, courage, anxiety, calm, and how we can better move in and out of certain things. My first question, I've been super excited about this interview happening because I'm fascinated by how we think, how we feel, our emotions, how everything is connected in our body and our brains. And I'm curious, how much does the body control the mind and the mind control the body? Are they very connected, or is the mind in complete control?
That's a great question. The short answer is the body has a huge and profound influence on our mind. And the reason is that we often talk about the brain, and we think the brain. The brain is important, but the brain and the spinal cord, which makes up what we call the central nervous system, are extensively connected with the body, and the body is extensively connected with the brain and spinal cord.
So the spinal cord is connected to the brain.
That's right.
The back. It comes up the neck.
That's right.
And the actual nerves are connected inside of your brain.
That's
right.
Go
all the way down to lower back? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically we are a big tube, or our nervous system is a big tube. So your brain obviously is the thing that's shaped like more or less like this. and then the spinal cord extends off the back, and all that is housed in skull, except for two pieces of the brain, which are the eyes, which are actually two pieces of the brain that are outside the skull.
The eyes are a part of the brain.
They are absolutely a part of the brain. They are central nervous system. So it's eyes, brain, and spinal cord.
They're all connected.
They're all connected.
So if you took that out of the body, let's say, they would all be connected
That's
in some
right.
way.
They're contiguous, as we say. They're just one unit.
They're one piece.
That's right. And when sometimes they get challenged, people say the eyes aren't part of the brain. And well, then that means that the spinal cord is part of the brain too. And I want to be really clear. This is not semantics. There is a genetic program that ensures that early in development, during the first trimester, when we were all in our mother's bellies, the retinas, the neural retinas and eyes were deliberately pushed out of the skull. And the reason you have those eyes outside your skull is so that you can evaluate things at a great distance from you, right? Because otherwise everything would have to be in contact with you. Other animals do this mainly using smell. We are very visually driven. So a lot of our genome is devoted to vision and understanding what's going on at a distance from us. And that's afforded us a huge evolutionary advantage.
To survive.
To survive, because the more that I can anticipate events at a distance, the more that I can coordinate with my environment, like daytime and nighttime, but also when objects are coming at me, or things I want to chase and kill, or you think about mating behavior and hunter-gatherer behavior, all of that, evaluating faces and facial expressions without actually having to come into contact with people, afford a huge evolution.
As we are understanding how important the eyes are. So, and we have always been told that the eyes are the window to the soul, right? And as he's explaining that this, your eyes being a part of your brain, right? Your eyes are an actual connection, extension of your brain that is outside, that is being the ultra sensitive. It is the ultra thing to make sure that you see all things and recognize danger. But the eyes go further. The eyes go further than just seeing what is the imminent danger of fire here, or somebody shooting guns, or somebody in a tussle in a fight. It can go to just looking at another person's mannerisms. You can get the spirit of another human being just from the sensories of your eyes, detecting their mannerisms. Your body then, from this sensor, not how do you think you get this mental feeling about somebody before you even meet them, or you say, I don't know, there's something about that person that I just don't like, just a look about them, or when you're praying and you're seeing the person contorted in front of you, you're seeing a demon in front of you. You are your brain, which is given to you by the Most High, has given you the power through your eyes to be able to look at a person and know that their spirit is either off, good, angry, whatever it may be. Wow. Who provided this for us? Who created man? Because until this moment, man, scientists, even though they got a nice little movie called Frankenstein, and even though they're doing gene splicing and they're doing all of this enhanced humans, augmented humans, making them superhuman, they have still yet to create one. They've got test tube babies that they hold a sperm in a test tube, but they have not incubated and made a full human to our knowledge. We know they tried, because if they were successful, we would know. So we're understanding, like you're saying, yes, say a lot of frequency. We have to understand that our brain works on a frequency, that our entire existence is held together by a frequency. Our brains and our eyes are extrasensory to this vibration, through these frequencies that we're around. We see through frequencies. The animals, you'll point out animals, the snakes, they see through infrared, just like the machines, the CAT scanners that can see the lighting up of the brain. So I stopped right here because I want us to be clear on what he's saying when we're talking about the eyes being extrasensory and that it can pick up danger, it can pick up joy and happiness as well, because there's both, right? Joy and happiness and pain and anger, right? So it can perceive that. And then once you perceive that, your body automatically starts to react to that. Your brain has received that there is danger, there is sadness, there is joy, whatever it is. And now your body starts to create that feeling to join in or respond to what the senses of your eyes are showing you, or what the senses of your eyes have started to make your body react to. We are talking about a state of being. So your eyes can put you in a state of being without having a conversation with yourself. Because only the Most High can make something so intricate that it can do that. And then it is a constant learning thing. So what you found as danger as a 5-year-old is different as a 10-year-old. Your concept of danger at 25 is different from it was at 15. So the Most High, in his infinite glory, created an intricate body that does all of these things. And we have the nerve sometimes to want to make him as simple as we are. God's a woman, God's a man. Hilarious to think that such a great creator that created something that could manifest its own destiny, learn and still love it as it's learning and making mistakes and transgressing against its own power, still have a covenant in place that the actual world will yield to it when it is on course and in the proper state. Come on.
Evolutionary advantage. But I want to make sure that I answer your question thoroughly. The nervous system includes the brain, which we now know includes the eyes as well, the spinal cord, and then what's called the peripheral nervous system, all the connections with the body. And every organ in our body, our heart, our diaphragm, our lungs, our spleen, our liver, all of it is as we say, innervated. It receives nerve connections.
To the brain?
That's right, from the brain and spinal cord. So much so that if we were to just dissolve away everything except the nervous system, if we had a human nervous system splayed out here on the table in front of us, it would look like a human being. There would be a connection at every level down to, you'd be able to say that's the big toe, and that's the pinky, and that's where the heart would belong, because it's almost like a silhouette of our entire body. And so when we think about the nervous system, it's really important, I think, for people to understand that the nervous system is all of that, brain and body and all the connections back and forth. And, there have been thousands of years of debates about what's the mind, what's the brain, et cetera, the mind-body problem, all that. I think it's fair to say.
So let's go with this. So note what he says, the mind-body problem. But I want you to be clear that the gentleman said that if you laid out the entire nervous system, it would look like a body, right? It would look like a body. It would be something that was recognizable, something that man could recreate, right? Because it would all be laid out, all of the channels connecting each other from the head to the foot. He said you would be able to say, okay, that's a big toe, right? So if man can see that through, the nervous system, how the body is laid out, then one has to ask the question, where is the state comes from? Because the nervous system can't make the body move. You can lay out a body, you can see all the connectors of the nerves, but it won't move. It won't react. You got a nervous system that is built to react, right? You got one that's built to react, but it needs something in order to ignite it to react. Where you go to Genesis, the beginning, right? We go to the beginning, Genesis chapter 2, verse 9, and it says, and out of the ground made the Most High to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the river went out from Eden to water the garden. From thence it was parted and came into four heads. Name, named the first is Pison, that it is which compass the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, right? And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. Now I want you to remember that part of Gihon, and we're going to get to Gideon. Then it says down here, 19, and out of the ground the Most High formed every beast of the field. Out of the ground he formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see that he will call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. I want to go back up. This is what I want. So when we're talking about the spirit, remember Gihon, we're talking about the spirit and what makes that nervous system, that flesh to flourish. In verse 7, chapter 2, and the Most High formed man out of dust, out of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. A man became a living soul. So, as the gentleman showed you in the video, that they can lay out an entire body. That means that they can recreate a body if they chose to, through nanoparticles, through all the different things that they have in science right now. But what they cannot do is breathe life into it. See, the heart is the drum that pumps the blood through our body. They can't even when they put a heart in that pumps blood through that body, it still doesn't make it a living soul. They can put an artificial heart in someone that'll pump blood through this artificial body, this GMO body that they made, but yet it doesn't have the spirit of life. Only person that gives that is the Most High. So when we're talking about our neural path and how it is seeing things, and how there is the debate between the body and spirit debate, right? Well, without a spirit, there is no body. A body is nothing but flesh. That's why in our scripture it tells us over and over and over again that we are constantly separating our spirit from our flesh, that we are supposed to be living in the spirit of the Most High, living in the being of the Most High. That means following his laws, statutes, and commandments. It's very short. Being, as they're saying, a state of mind, is that you are constantly in prayer, that you are constantly thinking and acknowledging him in all things that are happening to you and that's happening to you and through you. As the scientists are telling you that everything comes at you, all sensations come at you, sound, visuals, frequencies, people, all these things are bombarding your face, bombarding your spirit, bombarding your state every day. The word for spirit, that when it speaks here, it says it breathes the nefesh, the soul, right? Nephes, right? So let's go to our Strong's Concordance on that. So when we go to Strong's Concordance and we look at the Hebrew word for what they say is the breath of life. When they give you scripture, they tell you the breath of life. But the word that was breathed, the word that in our original scripture is nephesh. It says nephesh, a living soul, being, life, self, person, desire, passion, appetite, emotion. So nephesh, the flesh, almost like saying na flesh, giving life to flesh, right? And the Strong's says of living creatures and let the birds, the moving creatures that have life. So that hath to give, to be, to the state of being, right? So you'll find that being is the same thing. Nefesh, a soul, living being. So now when we understand what a state of being is, it's the state, your being is the state that you're living in. Not the United States, not Georgia state, not Louisiana state, but the mental state that you're in. So when we look at the Strong Concordance for the word 3426, for being, right? They want to play with me. H 3426. Y'all don't want to give me a, come on, man. Y'all, this is an actual word here, guy. I'm gonna stop playing. That's what I don't like about these versions sometimes. You're gonna go on back on out to here. 3426. Thank you, sis. So when we look at the Strong's Concordance of Yaesh. So they tell you that yesh is the word, and we had earlier you saw the word was nefesh, right? But here is yesh, but pronounced properly is Yaesh, Yaysh. They said the Most High said that His name would be upon us in all things, Yah, right? So Yayesh is how it's pronounced, and Yayesh means being, existence, substance. There is substance, existence. So we understand our state of being, our state of mind was given to us by the Most High. Our spirit that we have was given to us by the Most High. Our natural spirit, our natural way of being is a righteous being that the Most High breathed into us. Oh, wow. Excuse me, guys. I want to make sure the computer don't down us, right? So the thing that the Most High bred into us, He bred into us a state. He bred into us His state, His righteousness, His purity. What we've done with it since then has tarnished it. So let's continue to see how they talk about this. But I want to make sure when he talks about the mind-body debate, it is, does flesh run you or does the spirit run you? And it's an ongoing debate. It's an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing war. Every day you wake up and you're fighting against your body with your spirit, your flesh against spirit. Every day you wake up, we say we killed the old man. We killed the flesh of yesterday. The Most High has allowed us to wake up and breathe a new day. We are repenting. We're not going to do what we did yesterday in the flesh. We're not in that state. We are constantly trying to be in a state, a Hebrew state of being of the Most High, a state of gloriousness, of righteousness. So they're going to talk about now from here on out is how the things that debilitate the spirit. They're going to talk about the things that debilitate the mind, the state. Let's go.
Say in 2020 that states of mind include the brain, the activity of the brain, and the body. Those two things coordinate, the brain and the body, and have a sort of what I call a contract. There's a brain-body contract that gives rise to things like states of mind. So a feeling of depression or a feeling of awe or excitement or happiness.
Which is a state of mind, is what I'm hearing you say.
We could talk about why
An emotional experience is a state of mind.
That's right. Yeah. I prefer to talk about states and states of mind because they include the brain and body. So just by saying mind, I don't mean just brain. They include the brain and body. And also because...
So when you say, sorry to interrupt, but brain and body mean thought and feeling?
Yeah, so you're asking the key questions. Emotions are very hard to describe in an objective way, whereas states have certain properties that allow us to study them in different...
So, fine, I got him to pause for a second. So as he stated, that the mind and the body has a contract together. That's the covenant. When the Most High breathed the nefesh into your body, he made a contract with this living organism that he created out of the dirt. He created you out of the dirt, and he made a contract with you. I'm going to give you life if you follow upon me, to be a reflection of me. I'm going to breathe my spirit, my life into you, and you are going to be a reflection of me on this earth. That makes you a God, because you had a God breathe into your nostrils. You had the Most High breathe to give you life into your nostrils. So the contract, the covenant, the Most High has a covenant with us. The one that gave us this life, this state, he has a covenant for us. Our body constantly breaking that because of the fear and anxiety that the world creates. What is the bond breaker that's breaking our covenant? That we allow what we see in our eyes to dictate what our body feels. We are negating, missing a step. When we see these things, when these things bombard us, we have to immediately go back to the source, to the prayer, to the meditation, to the breathing, to the calling upon the remembrance of your righteousness and how to be righteous. Then allow your body to act. Then allow your mouth to speak. You see the part that we're missing, right? We are not putting ourselves into the state that we need to be in. We are allowing our bodies to skip. We're allowing our bodies to skip a process. And the skipping of that process is the iniquity that grows within us that eventually brings us to death. Come on.
Different laboratories and from one experiment to the next. So some people may have heard this before, but the brain does really 5 things. We have sensation, which is, we're constantly being bombarded with sound waves and light and smells and things. And that stuff is ongoing and you can't negotiate that. It's just you have these receptors in your body that allow you to evaluate those things. A sea turtle has magnetoreception. It can navigate by magnetic fields. We cannot.
All right. So again, when I say that we are skipping steps, they're skipping steps because they're telling you about receptors as if they created them. They're telling you about a receptor as if they actually were the ones that created these things. No, 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 no. They are only studying these things. And we're going to show you how the Most High created these things inside of us so that we were already built with. When He designed this body, He already designed this body to be able to heal itself, to rejuvenate itself, to bring itself back into the Most High. Yes. As soon as I find the thing I'm looking for, because I have it already pumped up here, and they're going to make me look for it again. Y'all know I miss things in my tabs. I'm going through the tabs. Be patient with me, because it should have been right. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to pipe it up and look it up. That's all right. So what we are going to see is that we have receptors, right? So we're talking about these receptors that we have, right? That the body naturally has. And he says that's how animals use to navigate, right? They say that the animals are using, or the turtles specifically, use the magnetic receptors that he was born with. That means the Most High gave him that, right? So when he's talking about receptors, he's talking about cannabinoid receptors. There we go. It's all right. I did this earlier. Y'all can do it with me right now. So when he's talking about these receptors in our brain that receives all of this information and then how this information affects us. Because remember, our eye is an organism. Our eyes are seeing these things, not to mention what we bring in our nose and what we bring in our mouth. So, but when we're looking at these cannabinoid receptors, because that's the receptors that he's speaking of, there's two. There's CB1, CB2 receptors, right? CB1 is motor activity, thinking, motor coordination, appetite, short-term memory, pain perception, immune cells. Wait a minute. So what we're saying to you is that your body was already born with these receptors to be able to receive information to heal these things. So your cannabinoid 1 receptor can receive information to either destroy or enhance your motor activity, your thinking, your motor coordination, your appetite, your short term memory, your pain perception, and your immune system. And your cannabinoid 2 receptor that you're born with, that the Most High gave you from the dirt, he gave you this receptor. Cannabinoid 2 receptor is your gut. When you start feeling the butterflies, because you think you're walking into danger, you're feeling the butterflies, that's because your CB2, your cannabinoid 2 receptor is seeing something that's making your gut, your kidneys, your pancreas, your adipose tissue, your skeletal muscle, your bone, your eyes, your tumors, your reproductive system, your immune system, your respiratory tract diseases, corona, right? Your respiratory tract, your skin, your central nervous system, your cardiovascular system, and your liver. This is your human endocannabinoid system. Human endocannabinoid system. So now, for my smokers out there, for my people that partake, cannabinoid sounds a lot like cannabis. Well, you would be absolutely correct, sir, or ma'am, right? So what we're finding is that the plant that the Most High made, that the Most High grew in the earth, that this plant, if taken, can heal through your cannabinoid receptors. Your body was born with receptors to receive this plant. Your body, right, was created by the Most High to receive the healing, Genesis 9, that all herbs were put on this earth for. Let's go to Genesis 9. Let's go to Genesis 9. Let's not play with it because all in the beginning, right? So Genesis 9, when it says 3, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. So he says, as the as the moving thing shall be meat for you, every living thing shall be meat to you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye eat, shall ye not eat. So he's telling you that you can have the herb, you can have the meat, but don't do the blood. I don't have receptors for that, and that's life. That's a whole nother level for you, right? The blood thing is a whole nother level. But it all has to do with the mind and the ability to breathe, to cleanse, because cleanse and uncleanse has to do with the blood, right? The cannabinoid receptors, right, is through your nervous system. It goes through the blood, right? meat not smoke, yeah, meat and smoke, right? So yeah, Nicola. So because you can take this green herb and you can put it in tea as well. There's many ways to extract the healing power of this herb. The only reason that you look down, or any human being looks down upon this, is because the United States has made it a Schedule 1 narcotic. Again, we're talking about the scientific method. The scientific method of these heathens said that herb, the cannabis, which is in scripture, Genesis chapter 9, verse 3, that the Most High gave it to us for us the healing, right? And it says, for the healing of the earth. Even as the green herb. I'm going to pull up the one that says for the healing of the body. But as he's put the herb, not only for the healing of our body, he put cannabinoid receptors in our body so that we would work with it, so that it would be a healing mechanism. When we brought up the article about the Canadian doctors that said that they have proven that through cannabis that they are able to shut off the receptors that allows the coronavirus to come in. Remember, they want to vaccinate you with an RNA vaccination. It does not heal the virus. What it does is it shuts down the receptors. The vaccine is supposed to shut down the receptors that receives the signal for your body to get sick. So this, as cannabinoid, the Father has put down on the earth and made your body receptible to it through your cannabinoid receptors, right? Where did I go with it? Where did I go with my cannabinoid receptors? Right? So as we understanding, the Most High allowed this plant to work on all of these aspects. But the United States government said that it was a drug that was the gateway to their made up pharmaceuticals of cocaine. Something that the Most High gave for us, that they have now done commercial. They spent billions of dollars on commercials telling you not to do what the Most High has told you and given you to heal your body. Cannabinoid. Cannabinoid receptors are usually found in the brain and central nervous system. The cannabinoid 2 receptors are most abundant in the immune system and are known to regulate the release of cytokines and pro-inflammatory protein released by the immune system. So your body releases pro-inflammatory immune system cells by your cannabinoid receptor. So if your cannabinoid receptor receives it, right, and then uses it to kill other things, how are you receiving it? Where in the United States nutritional guidelines do they tell you that cannabis is actually needed to boost your immune system? So when the Canadian doctors in Forbes magazine, they only published it in the extremely, well, all the rich people get it. They didn't put it in the places like the neighborhood news, neighborhood black newspaper, right? Or neighborhood gazette. They put it in Forbes magazine. So those cannabinoids, let me put this, let me show this one to you guys. Maybe this. Endocranial system, right? So it is so the concentrations of CB receptors, cerebral cortex, basal ganglia, the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata, all of these things, right? Your brain-derived foods, it gives you omega-3s, omega-6s for thinking, protocannabinoids, plant-derived buds, tinctures, extracts, synthetic cannabis. We don't want synthetic pharmaceuticals. So they're telling you that the way that you get these cannabinoids into your mind is endocranial receptors, brain receptors, endocrine system is involved in regulating a variety of physiological processes, including appetite, pain, pleasure, sensation, immune system. All right, so let's go back to the guy. So we're talking neuroscience and the power of the mind. And what he just explained to you about the receptors that are in your body that changes your thought process, that changes the way you see things, changes the way you understand things. It makes your body vibrate because, again, back to the Most High and his creation, how does the cannabinoids get their properties? By the sun that the Most High created and no man created. So as they are talking this science to you, they're only trying to replicate what the Most High system has already in place. But if you listen to them, you allow fear to come through your eyes and your ears. You allow fear and anxiety to control you, then you listen to the lies of the masses. So let's go back to their science.
Not do that, but they can because they sense it. Infrared vision in a pit viper or something. So unless you put on night vision goggles, you can't do that. Then there's perception, which is which sensations you are paying attention to. So as you write with your pen, if I say, what does that pen feel like in your hand? Now you're perceiving it, but the sensation was always there. Those receptors were always sensing it.
So the sensation being the actual feeling or the actual visual, the perception is your interpretation of the feeling?
So I would say that the perceptions are where your attention is, which sensations you're attending to. And then you have thoughts, and thoughts get a little complicated for us to parse because they are a little bit abstract. But thoughts are a combination of our perception, whatever it is we're attending to, and they have context, memory. They're tapped into our, into our memory systems, right? Because if I say a pen and you're like, I don't know what your relationship to pens is, but mine is kind of a trivial one. I write with one. But let's say I come from a family that, I don't know, had a pen factory in Germany in the 1930s. then there's a whole,
or you got stabbed by a pen
or you got
when you're a
stabbed by a
kid.
pen, right? So it's very contextual.
Yeah.
So what he's explaining is that there are states. You can have the state of being that the pen doesn't matter to you, or you have some connectivity, memory, experience. Your family owns a pen factory, so ink pens mean something different to you. As he said, or you could be stabbed by ink pen, someone bit by a dog. Not that they hate dogs, but because of their experience with the dog, they are embedded in them that this is a no, this is flame, this is fire, not to go forward. Your sensors are kicking in. Your thoughts are now creating feelings. As he said, they are not going too deep into thoughts because thoughts are a whole nother basket. But we are dealing with how it starts because that's what it's about. It's about the circumcision of our heart and the circumcision of our mind. When we talk about our circumcision of our heart, we're talking about the circumcision of our mind, not controlling the thoughts in our mind and controlling what our mind sees and how our mind processes that. The Most High has created all things for us, good and bad. Good and bad is used as lessons. Good and bad is used as rewards. Good and bad is used to mold. Good and bad is used to teach. So we can't say that bad emotions is something that we don't need and we're looking for a world where there are no bad emotions. Well, that world will be a world that's with the Most High when we don't need to learn anything else. And he has put his doctrine, his new message, his new word, his new name in our hearts and minds. But until then, we have to navigate through this world of iniquity. So our thoughts has to be circumcised or controlled. And the way that we do that, the way that we control our thoughts, the way that we control how we perceive things is by the state of mind that we receive it. It all depends on the state of mind that you receive it. Just like he said, the state of mind of receiving an ink pen. When one person looks at the ink pen, he could care less. It's a writing tool. Another person looks down at that pen from a state of being that he is a part owner in the inception of this writing thing. He takes pride in it. All of a sudden now his thought has given him a feeling of pride. When you, with your sensors, your eyes, are receiving things that are happening to you, are you receiving them in a state of Hebrew, a state of mind that is in with the Most High, that you are looking at it from the words from his scripture? Or are you looking at it from the lies of the world? Because the scripture tells you that them boys on the corner smoking is actually healthy. The world will tell you them boys smoking on the corner is degenerates. What state are you receiving what you're being exposed to? Your state of being, the way that you receive it. If your house is in order, then you know how to put things in place. If your house is not in order, then you just throw it there and you deal with it when you get to it. But throwing it and you dealing to it when you get a chance to get to it, that thing is growing in your house the whole time. The Most High sometimes call it enmity. Sometimes the Most High calls it jealousy. Sometimes the Most High calls it hate, anger. All the things that tear down the body. I gave you an image in the beginning of this of the armor, the whole armor of the Most High. I gave you the image of the armor of the Most High because none of these things that you will read on that armor is a physical thing that you can grab except for one, the word. You can still grab the word. But prayers, you can't, that's you don't need to recite a prayer. That's from the mind and the spirit that you're in when you're talking to the Most High. What state are you in when you're talking to Him? That's your helmet of salvation. See, your state is your helmet of salvation. If you are in a mind state of salvation, then the Most High can talk and work with you. Then He can give you the breastplate of righteousness. The heart is circumcised. How do you get a breastplate of righteousness? Because your mind has already circumcised the iniquity. You are already receiving information. You're already receiving drama. You're already receiving vaccines, the whole concept, the thoughts of it through the state of the Most High. So when your heart, when you stand and get ready to think and have a thought, your thought is reflective of that state of being. And now your breastplate, what you're speaking out of your heart, is of the word of the Most High. You have the Father's word. That's why you can stand and take the shots when people are accusing you, when people are lying on you, when people are not understanding you, when the Most High has confounded your tongue and you can't seem to explain to them what you need to explain to them because He's confounded your tongue. You can still have that breastplate of righteousness and come back. Put yourself in the state of mind. Pull back. Put yourself in the state of mind. Pull back. Put yourself in the state of mind of righteousness. And realize that you have the breastplate of righteousness, and that no matter what is coming, if you shut your mouth and put yourself in a state, so when you're shutting your mouth, you're putting yourself in a state of being. When you're closing off this sensation, you're allowing another sensation to be heightened. When you close this sensation, you're allowing another sensation to be heightened. The spiritual one, the one that needs no words, that you can do with action because your eyes can see danger, so your eyes can see righteousness. What state are you in? What headspace are you in? And that will dictate and determine what comes out your mouth and how your body acts, whether you defend it, whether you about it or not, whether you become humble. It depends on the state of mind. We don't become humble until we're in the state of mind of the Father, and knowing that He has the power, knowing that He is the one that avenges us, that He says that I am covered through His blood of His Son that He put in flesh, that had no beguile, that had no anger, that would not let a reed be broken in His presence. What state are we in?
So thoughts are like perceptions, but they carry memory and context.
Thoughts are memory and context.
Yeah, they include that. And then there are feelings/emotions. And this is where it really starts to get abstract and kind of hazy, and where there's still a lot of debate. Because, for instance, if I ask you how you're feeling and you say, most people say, I feel good. Well, what does that mean? I mean, that's not a feeling. So if you ever do personal development work, they're always like, don't say good or bad. What do you feel? And people will say, well, I feel calm and excited or something like, and it starts becoming very abstract. And so emotions are a real thing, and they certainly, perhaps more than anything else, recruit the brain and the body.
What it says, that feelings recruit the mind and the body. Feelings recruit the mind and the body. Are y'all hearing this? If your house is not in order and you don't know where to put those feelings, your feelings will then recruit your mind and your body. that feeling will then start to tell the brain that we should think about what this ill is. That, wait, hold up. It's not just somebody did me wrong, but hold up, the whole world wants me. Hold up, you know what? They got with this person and they got with that person. Hold up, and you go, and your mind got to go. Your mind just goes. Because your feeling has recruited your mind. And then you remember that your mind is leading, and you say, well, then if I thought it, then there must be a possibility. You see the mind F you put yourself in by allowing the emotion to lead? When you allow the emotion to lead, it recruits the mind and the body. The mind starts to rationalize the feeling, and the body is ready to die for it. Do you understand why it's so important to have the house in order so that when the feelings and the thoughts come, you know where to place them? Because if you don't, then it puts your body at dis-ease. It puts your body and your spirit at dis-ease. You become diseased. Let's go to Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, yeah. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 42. And it says, because we keep talking and we keep saying that you kill your old man daily. So it says in 42, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in corruption. We just talked about the recruiting. Recruiting is sowing. The emotion that you feel, the emotion that you're going through has now sown itself into your mind. Your mind has now rationalized it and sown itself into the body. Now the body is like, I'm fully on. My spirit and my mind is fully on in one way. This person did me wrong. My mind know they did me wrong. I'm upset. I'm in my emotion. And now my body says, I'm going to extract that pint of flesh so that I can feel better. No matter what your pint of flesh is. Pint of flesh can be somebody saying, I'm sorry. Pint of flesh can be that you that they bow down and cower to you. The pint of flesh can be actual gunshots. Your pint of flesh can be smacking somebody up. Your pint of flesh can be so many things. It can be the fact that you made them look stupid and you get to sit back and laugh and grin about it. Whatever that extracting of that pound of flesh, you're gonna pay for it triple. Because the spirit it was done in, the state that it was done in the devil's, in the Hashatan state. You were not done in the Most High state, right? Because if it was done in the Most High state, then you would have saw that this was a lesson. And what you would have sold into that would have been the Most High's word, your sword. That's the other armor part. But you won't know the word unless you're reading and seeking him. If you're not studying to show thyself approved, then you may not have the sword that you need to vanquish your enemies. But good thing for you, though, because the Most High got your back because of that covenant. Most High said, if you just come into me, you consider me, you acknowledge me, and shut your mouth, I'll go ahead and take care of your enemies for you. Yeah, I'll do it for you. If you shut your mouth and pray unto me and be righteous, I don't care if they beating you down, smacking you, talking bad about you, you don't give it back to them because they're going to fall directly on their own sword. That's when you get to sit back and say, my creator is a mighty creator. So, as it's saying here, So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. It is raised in incorruption. So when you kill that old man, you are raised in incorruption. It is sown in his dishonor. It is sown in his dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, but it is raised in power. Huh? It said it is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, but it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. So the natural body is the flesh, but what is raised is the spiritual body. There is a natural body, so there has got to be a spiritual body. We are talking about healing. We are talking about mental gymnastics. Because most people want to be right here in the face. They want to be real simple like. This is complex. There's levels to this game. There are levels to this game. It says, so also is resurrection of the dead. That whole thing starts about reviving the dead. And what is death in scripture? Iniquity. Iniquity. The pestilence that's on this earth, the coronaviruses and all these different things, you know what that is. That's the most high's judgment. You are saved through his judgment by studying his book and learning the truth from their lies. Because the truth is told you that your body is born with cannabinoid receptors that heals you from the same disease, respiratory disease that you are dealing with. Phone's going dead. So the death is your perception. We're killing your old state, your old perception of being, and you are replacing it with the power of your strength and prayers and your power of knowing that the Most High has you. Knowing is / faith. I know to some, faith is the not knowing. That's such a lie. That's such a horrible bill of goods that they sell you. Every prophet tested the Most High. Every prophet asked the Most High, am I the one you choose? And I'm hearing these things in my head. Am I really supposed, is that really you talking to me? But they were already trying to be righteous before the Most High spoke to them. So when they were able to say, Most High, this is really you talking to me, would you do this? The Most High had no problem obliging them to do it a second time, as we're going to read in Gideon tonight. Our feelings will sow into our mind and into our body and make us think that we are doing the right thing so much that our flesh will stand on it and be willing to die for it. See, it is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor. It is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness. It is raised in power. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it was written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul, and living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. So who do you think the last Adam is? Who do you think the last Adam is? It said, and so it is written. The first Adam was made of living soul, flesh that gave birth to all of us. The last Adam was made a quickened spirit. Your spirit is what the Most High blew in you. It's your mind, it's your state. We get to kill our old man and resurrect ourselves daily when we put ourselves in the state of mind of the Most High. We can put ourselves in the state of mind of all sorts of things. Movies do it every day. Instagram does it every day. Facebook does it every day. Every day, someone is bombarding you to put you in their state. Are you going to follow? Because in their state, they real mad. They real salty. So they can really point out everything that's wrong with your world. Even though you in the right state of mind, they will be able to hit that nerve. Because you're being tested. Remember, the Most High does all things, right? Let's not get that twisted, right? They'll hit that nerve, that one area. And you may want to say, well, man, I'm more righteous than them. How can they even throw a stone at this house? That ain't the state of mind you're supposed to be in. That's a state of flesh. In the state of the Hebrew, when you receive that, you know that that's being sent at you to take you off of your spirit. So as a Hebrew, you pray more. You grab your Psalms, my favorite 35, and you say, yeah, I'm everything you say I am. And if I'm that, I'm also this man that's holding the scripture. If I'm that, I'm also this man that's holding the scripture right now, that's reading it and going to it. So there ain't no two ways about it. If I'm that, I'm also this. If I'm that, I'm also this. And I take both, the good and the bad. Are you the one that's pointing at me? Is you ready to talk about yours? I'll take mine. See, it takes a lot. You have to be in the spirit of the Most High to take a blow, to take a hit, not let it take you out your spirit and give back the spirit in the spirit. See, some of us can give it back, but we in our flesh spirit, we give it raw, or we give it however. Giving the spirit in the spirit. Can you do it? Let me tell you, it takes practice. And if you just jumped up real quick and said, yeah, I can do it, you probably can't. You probably haven't. You've probably been doing it wrong. Because only through long suffering do you understand how to do that. And if you ain't did no long suffering in this discipline of taking the hits, being humble, allowing the Most High to do the work, and giving back righteousness, then you ain't been through the long suffering. You may have suffered something, but you ain't been through the long suffering that enables you to get your spirit in the right state at the drop of a hat. That's what they're talking about. The whole process of these neuroscientists on helping you unlock the science of your neural pathways so that you can be successful, that you can be rich. It is so that you can receive things in your brain, change the perception, change it after you receive it in your receptor, and change it for positivity, and know that you ultimately have the power. But again, they skip the step of understanding that the Most High gives that power. They want you to be a God within yourself. They think that since the Most High has given us the ability to heal ourselves, since He made this beautiful being that we are, this intricate vessel that we are, and they figured out some tricks of this vessel, they think that they are scientists and that they can tell you that if you do it this scientific way, then you can achieve these things. And they're not lying to you. But it will only get you so far. Just like you can look at the man or the woman that gets some gifts, but then it all falls because there's no foundation to it. I was talking to my brother earlier. It's like a boxer that has so many styles, but don't have his own style. Yes, you may perfect other people's style, but it's their style. It's their style. So if you come across somebody else that perfected their style more than you, what do you fall back on? Because the only individual thing that is spectacular, that is an individual spark that hasn't been created no other place but within you, is your style. It is you. It is the breath, the life, the yaish that the Most High breathed into you. If you don't know your style, then you ain't fully tapped into your full power. If you ain't refined your style in the Most High, you haven't begun to tap into your true strength. The state of mind, the state of being is everything. My brothers that have been locked up like myself, we know when there's a terminology that say, don't let the time do you, you do the time. What that means is that don't put yourself in woe is me that you in jail. While you in here, make the most of it. Take yourself out of the state of being in these bars. Put yourself in the state out there because you're going to be there eventually. What are you going to do when you get there? When you did time, you understand that process. My brother Alfred know what I'm talking about. That's why he out doing his thing right now, because he thought about it. He had a plan. He had a good woman in place. He was able to march forward. That's the same thing. Same thing. How are you taking in this world? What state do you take this world in? Let's get back to it.
Feel depressed, we occupy certain postures, we feel it in our gut, we feel it in our limbs, we can feel fatigue, we can feel anxious, and so the emotions are really where you capture that mind, the brain-body contract and relationship very, very intensely. Okay. And then the fifth thing is actions. And what I love about actions and behaviors is they are very concrete. You're writing with your pen now, I'm speaking, I'm moving my hands. You can measure those things, you can analyze them, we know exactly what the neural pathways are. So we've got sensation, perception, emotions, and actions.
Thoughts, yep.
And then of course, beneath all that, you've got memories, and people always like to raise intuition. You know, they always say, what about that sixth thing, intuition? And we could talk about intuition, but the reason I like to talk about states and the reason we study states in my lab is that states have two properties that are easy to study somewhat compared to emotions. And that's how pervasive they are, meaning how long-lasting they are. States tend to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, whereas emotions, it's sort of like they're more in combination. States are more like the primary colors from which you mix all you get all the emotions.
Yeah. That's when you see in our logo, we have the primary colors as the chakras, as different levels of your emotion, from your crown chakra, right? Which is the aleph from our alphabet. It is the head, is the ox. But there are different things from our gut to our groins, right? The sensitivities, when they are talking about the chakras, they're talking about where the nervous system connects to and those particular sources that give forth those emotions. So in your gut, you get the butterflies. So there is a chakra point. Your brain, where your pineal gland is, where you pray and you receive signals, that is also a chakra point. So when they give you these yogas and these chakra things, all they've done is take the hard wiring of what the Most High has created for us as our healing, and they put it into their demonic system of yoga from the Sanskrit and all these multiple gods. But we should not be surprised at that, because they've done that with everything of the Most High.
And the other thing is that they have an intensity that we can measure. You can have a state of being very alert or very drowsy or asleep.
And you can say from a 1 to 10, how are you feeling in this state?
That's right. And we can measure
that
it.
experience. Yeah.
That's right. And we can correlate it with things like heart rate variability, breathing speed, sweating, levels of neural activity in brain areas that control wakefulness. And so I would be the first to say that I would love to be able to say that in my laboratory we are studying, or someday we'll study, awe and flow and all those things. But those are higher up on the ladder than we can get to right now. I think with the current technology, we can understand states, and from there, I do believe that we can make a significant dent into certain mental health issues and optimize performance in certain, communities that are trying to optimize performance and in the general public. But the states that we're focused on are very concrete. For instance, alert and focused. That would be a wonderful state to understand and be able to direct ourselves toward when we're not feeling alert and focused.
How to get into that state.
How to get into that state. And we could talk about tools for that if you like. Sleep. Sleep is so powerful and so important. I think now people really understand the extent to which it's important, in large part because of Matt Walker's book, Why We Sleep, and the important work that he's done in his lab at Berkeley and many other labs as well, of course. So focus, sleep, creativity, stress. These are the kind of core states that we would like to tackle first because we believe we can. And then hopefully in my career, but if not in my career, then maybe one of my scientific offspring or another laboratory, 10, 20, 100 years from now, we'll be able to understand things like how does...
Now, I wanted to stop here for a reason, because what he said was very important. And as us that interact, and Pac said that I may not change the world, but I will spark the brain that will. He is referencing the same terminology when he says that my lab, I may not in my time be able to get to these feelings and these thoughts because they're so complex, but maybe the brain, I will spark the brain to do so. That's what our scripture is. Our scripture is different scientists through the centuries and millennials that have put down the word for the seed of Jacob, so that we would understand this supernatural world, how to receive this world, how to be victorious in this world. So their science books are trying to emulate our scriptures. Period.
One get into a state of empathy. I mean, we could spend the whole hour talking about empathy, but it's hard, and it's a fascinating topic, and it's so important, but it's just very hard to understand at a neural level. So we're starting with the basics, with the confidence that by understanding those basics, they will build up to richer representations and understanding of things like empathy someday.
Yeah. Would you need to be studying the heart as well to understand empathy, or does it all come from the mind?
It's a great question. So to understand any state, we believe that you have to study the brain and the spinal cord and the body. Wow. So in my lab, we talk about being neuroscientists. For me, that means we study the nervous system, the whole thing. So people who come into my laboratory, we put them into VR environments that simulate some experience. And I realize it's not as real as being in the actual experience in the real world, but you get enough presence, especially because it's very visually and auditorily rich in those environments. People get what's called presence. They forget that they're in a VR environment, at least for moments. And in that time, we're measuring heart rate variability, we're measuring sweating, we're measuring, in many cases, we also have electrodes lowered into their brain because we do this with neurosurgery patients. And so we have access to the brain, we have access to the body, and it's really by recording from all these areas of the brain and body that we can get a fuller understanding of what a state of, say, focus or stress or anxiety really is. If we were just looking in one little corner of the brain or just at the heart, we wouldn't be able to do that. And so that's a kind of a centerpiece of our lab, is that brain and body, the whole nervous system is the key. You got to look at all of it.
With feelings, I want to talk about feelings and emotions for a second. Can a person make it so they never get depressed? They never react to their perception, their people's actions towards them, where they never get to a state of, I don't feel good, I'm feeling more depressed, I'm in a dark place now, I'm stuck in this place. Is there a way that we could ever defend ourselves against negative stressors and negative emotions? Or are we just, do we need them as well to have contrast in life?
Well, there's sort of two views on this. I'll reveal mine after I explain the two views. One is that these states I guess I'm automatically calling things like depression a state of mind
State
and
of
body.
mind.
So when I say state of mind, I mean brain and body.
Because your body is really feeling, it's like the brain is connected to the body.
Right.
And so if you're saying internally the thought of like, I'm depressed, or I don't feel good, or I'm sad, or I'm lonely, or I'm not good enough, the body's going to react. Is that what I'm understanding?
Absolutely.
Like the body's going to manifest what the mind is telling you.
Manifest.
Absolutely.
The thought, the idea, you're going to be like, I'm sad, I'm not good enough. You're going to shrink.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right. I mean, there are really two forms of depression.
So, as he's stating, what's in your mind, your body is going to manifest it. So, we have to circumcise our thoughts. When these thoughts are coming into our mind, we have to immediately address these thoughts in our mind. And if we can't change the thought, then we grab a scripture, a Psalms, and we understand from the Most High and from our ancestors of how we should view things because we don't always have the answer. We too many times think that we are smarter than what we are, when really our intelligence and the way that we see things have been ingrained in us by the European state of mind. That many times that our reactions is because how the Europeans have said that we should react in this particular place. And how? Because every movie, every TV show, every drama show that they've been doing since the 1930s and the 20s when they created Hollywood has been telling us that this is what normal behavior is. This is how you should react when this thing happens. None of it based upon what scripture says how we should receive it, none upon how we should do it in the eyes of the Most High, but what the Europeans and this ideology has put forth. So sometimes, even when you are thinking that you're outthinking everyone, you're still thinking in the same hamster wheel that is provided by for you. It is only when we come out of that and set our mind and our bodies outside of the psycho drama that the world is. The world is nothing but a psychological drama. We are supposed to be at peace. The Most High says that when we are meditating and we are praying, it is for peace. So our scriptures and our Shabbat is for peace. The Most High says that He will bring back peace. Yahshua was called the Prince of Peace. It is not to be chaotic. The world, no matter how much money seems to be in the chaos, no matter how much fun it seems to be in the chaos, we must always understand that our natural state of being is a peaceful one. It is the place where we sleep, where our body repairs, where we release the endorphins, where we release the dopamines, where we release the where we release the anti-radical. I've been trying to say this word all day. The free radicals, right? The things that fight for our immune system. All that happens in a state of rest. It does not happen in a state of stress. It does not happen in a state of drama. It does not happen in a state of fear. It only happens in a state of peace. And the only place that we find this peace is knowing that we are safe. How else can you feel peaceful unless you know that you're safe and you know that you got food coming and you know that your kids and your loved ones, that they are safe? That's when you can breathe, right? That's the state of the Most High. That is the being He wants you to exude to the world. He wants the world to see a peaceful beast in you. Because you are a reflection of Him. He is peace. Peace is where the healing is. Peace is where the love is. Peace is where the rationale, the understanding, the grace, and the mercy for our brothers and sisters live. It doesn't live on the battlefield. There's no time for peace on the battlefield. There's no place for grace and mercy on the battlefield. The Most High is not a battlefield. The Garden of Eden was not a place of war. So, as the gentleman is talking about these states, understand that the only healthy state is a peaceful state.
Sometimes they're intermixed, but one is anxiety-associated depression, and you, if you've ever experienced it, or for anyone that's experienced it, they feel agitation in their body, and their mind races, but in their body. So the body is recruited. There are also depressive states that people feel very fatigued and exhausted. It's an overwhelm, and they also experience that in their body. The idea of getting out of bed in the morning is hard. Motivating to exercise, doing the sorts of things that we know are powerful for pushing back on depression. So the body is recruited. I think most people would say that depressive states are bad when they bring down the baseline on life. As a brief aside, anytime there's a question about mental health or addiction or trauma or anything, one could look at it and make up some argument of, well, evolutionarily, this makes sense, we all get depressed, but we have to be fair to the person experiencing it, of course, and have sensitivity that some behaviors will keep the baseline of our life steady, meaning job, relationships, etc., will continue as they are. Other activities will tend to improve the baseline on our life. Job, activities, relationship, etc., will improve. And then there's some things like heroin, which does very quickly, we can predict that very quickly the baseline on life is going to creep down regardless of who that person is, right? So people say, can you get addicted to water? Well, maybe, but I have to drink a lot of water before the baseline of my life starts to go down.
So it just feels uncomfortable.
That's
it's
right.
Like, man, I'm so bloated.
Exactly. So we tend to throw around things like addiction and depression a little loosely. So
yeah.
I think that it's fair to say that depression is wired into us as a possible state that we could all fall into, but that it's very important, in my opinion, that humans have tools to remove themselves from that state, of course, to avoid tragedies like suicide, but also because when the baseline on someone's life goes down far enough, they find it increasingly hard to do the sorts of things that are going to get them out of depression. So you or I could say...
So they stay in that state of depression because
That's right.
It's too hard to go work out. It's too hard to change my habit of eating healthier, so I'm going to stay... I'm going to keep eating ice cream, which is going to make my body, depressed.
That's right.
Right? If I keep eating bad foods, if I keep staying up till 4 a.m., if I keep staying in a toxic relationship, I'm going to feel depressed.
That's right. And eventually, because of this very inseparable relationship between the brain and body, eventually what happens is that because the brain controls the body, but also the body can control the brain, people lose the...
So, as he says, the brain controls the body, but the body can control the brain. He also said that tools, right? Said that you must have tools to pull yourself out of the depression. Again, those tools are your armor of the Most High. That's your tools. Your prayers, your salvation, the state of mind, keeping your body healthy, the breastplate of righteousness, knowing that you are doing the right thing. Then you have the gift of truth, right? You having the gift of your loins, right? You're having your loins girded with the truth, meaning that when times get hard and people are taking shots at what you know to be true, you got to girt your loins. You got to have them big old cojones, right? You got to have them big girl drawers on, right? Big girl panties on, right? So that is the time when you got to girt yourself with the truth, and not the truth of somebody else, not the truth of another human being, but the truth of the Most High. That things are in the way that they are because maybe I haven't brought myself to the Most High like I'm supposed to. Maybe I haven't done the self-introspection and gotten my mind in the proper state in order for me to get what I want. That's a truth that you got to deal with. You got to girt that. You got to girt your loins because sometimes that mirror, it ain't pretty to be in that mirror. And sometimes realizing that even though you tried to do the best, that it was actually your own actions that prohibited you from achieving your goal. That's a hard thing to look in the mirror. trusted me like as a businessman when I realized that it was my actions or my decisions that didn't make the company go forward. And man, it's nothing you want to look at. It's nothing you want to, it eats you up. It takes you out of the proper state. But if you're in the spirit of the Most High and you're girding your loins to that, then you know that, hey, even though I didn't get what I wanted right now, it's coming because I have now put myself in the proper state. And it says that covenant that's between that spirit and that body, that covenant between that mind and that body, that covenant between the Most High and us says that if I am in the right state and do the right thing, then things that I want will come unto me. And when you know that, you now have that sword, that spirit of the Most High, the word, the Torah. You are able to now converse with the demons or people or whatever's through the scripture and explain to them where their error is. In the spirit, giving the spirit. See, once you got that, you're in the right state of mind. Once you understand your truth, and then once you've girded yourself and fastened yourself behind your truth, that you judge yourself, that you can look at the truth and know the truth has judged you to be not righteous, and then you got yourself righteous. Now you can speak that as a testimony that becomes a sword to anybody. You're no longer embarrassed by it. You're in the state of mind of the Most High that your what somebody may consider embarrassing is now your sword that you yield with, that you are slicing and dicing because you are saying, I've looked myself in the mirror, I've taken my judgment. Are you ready for this judgment I'm about to sword with this sword? Whoa. Are you ready? Because I've already girded my loins, taken my licks with the Most High. When you got that sword, in other words, then your feet are shod with the preparation of the gospels of peace. Gospels is Besserah in the scripture. Besserah. That means the good news, which is what the word gospel means. But the good news that you now have when you have all this armor on is that salvation is in your hands. That the person you're talking to, you're saying, I know you're going through everything you're going through, but guess what? The good news is you have salvation in your own hands. As these scientists are saying that by correcting your thought process, you can heal your body. The cannabinoid receptors in our body tells us that we can ward off all diseases when we tap into the Most High and understand what He has provided as a healing, as a mechanism to protect our bodies from diseases. See, the Most High said that He doesn't want His people to die by the pestilence. He wants the ones that's not following Him. The ones that not following Him are not reading His scripture. So they wouldn't know these things. So then they got to go to somebody else and ask them what they heard about cannabinoids and ask them will that work. And then people will tell them, yeah, cannabinoids is true, but you need a vaccine because, you know, it's deeper than all of that. And neither one of y'all know nothing. But then y'all going to have a intelligent fool conversation from what has been told to you by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Aber. When you're in the state of the Most High, you're in the state of the Most High, you understand His power. You understand that His power is your power. That more than anything, He wants you to use the power that He's given you to save more, to reach the ones that need to be reached.
The ability to intervene in this depressive process. So you or I could say, look, if someone who's depressed, what they need to do is get up early, get some light in their eyes, get some movement. I know you put this information out there, which I love, because those tips are grounded in, they're not even tips, they're really tools.
Yes.
And they're very powerful because they're grounded in excellent science. You get that dopamine release early in the day that's antidepressive. You time your sleep better when you get sun in your eyes, and you get movement early in the day. For most people, that's accessible, and they absolutely should be doing it. Everyone should be doing that. But for people who are far enough down that path of depression, because the body and the mind have this relationship that's so close, there is a crossover point where they really can't do those activities.
Because they're so far deep into depression?
The body won't do what they decide to do. And so, now I'm not trying to give anyone a pass, because ultimately we are all responsible for our own mental health. Certainly adults more than kids, but we're all responsible for our own mental health, and only we can direct our own brain changes. That's the stinger. Once we're 25 years and older, we are the only ones that can change our brain. And we can talk about neuroplasticity if you like, but the depressed person has to take responsibility for their behavior. But this is why it's so important to catch this brain-body relationship early and build routines that keep one out of depression. So that was a long path back to answer your question succinctly, I hope, which is we can stay out of depression, but we have to keep depression at bay by doing things regularly. The same way we can stay out of obesity by eating the right foods in the right times and ratios and things of that sort. But once one is obese, there are massive endocrine changes, type 2 diabetes, that make it hard to eat correctly. Right. So there's this
It's hard to get out of it. It's hard to go back to a healthy state.
That's right. Once your insulin is dysregulated, you're hungry all the time. So it's much harder to control your hunger. Now,
and you have to have so much discipline and willpower to, I guess, break through and try to get back to a healthier state.
That's right.
Is that right? It's possible, is what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely.
But it's really, really hard.
That's right.
So is depression a disease then? Are people who have certain brain chemistry that are born differently with their brains that are just more depressed? Or is it possible to get out of that state if you have the functionality to think, to act, to move, to create routines and habits for yourself? Is that possible?
Yeah, there are some genetic predispositions to depression. And there's certainly familial circumstances where trauma and challenge that can head people down that path. I think one of the reasons I'm involved in public education about neuroscience is I want people to understand the nervous system, and I want them to understand that there are tools that can allow them to intervene in their thoughts and feelings, and most of the time those involve bringing in behaviors and the actual actions, which are very concrete. And the reason is the following: it's very hard to control the mind just using thinking.
Just using the mind.
Just thinking. It's very hard to, if someone's stressed out and you say calm down, it doesn't work. Telling ourselves calm down doesn't.
See, and this is the perfect example. Man is saying that you can tell yourself to calm down, but that don't mean you're gonna calm down. That you have to have tools in place in order to change your state, because your body will hijack your mind. And you will want to do what your emotions is telling you to do. You have to resort back to the scripture. You have to make Psalms a part of your life. If you can't go through all the scripture, you got to understand that changing your spirit, changing your state, you use those Psalms. They came and took that from our Hebrews and gave us the rosary bead, where we are praying into some broad, some Hail Mary bull crap. When Psalms is telling us how to sing, how to give joy, how to give praise, which changes your mental state of depression, which stops your state of taking your body and your whole life downhill. But you got to have tools. You got to have something in place. You got to know what you need in order to change it. So no, you can't necessarily tell yourself to calm down, but if you read Psalms first by forcing yourself to do the action of sitting down to read, you're already starting to calm. The words are going to give you power and going to make you calm, because you're going to know that your power is seeing all things. And if you are righteous as you're reading that, It's letting you know that, hey, baby, don't trip. I got you. The righteous, you can't hide them. I see you.
Doesn't work.
So it's like, what's a tool? Breathe.
Right. So a specific
Go
tool.
outside for a walk.
A specific
Yeah.
tool, right? And when it comes to depression and emotions, I mean, it's very hard to talk oneself out of an emotional state. It's just very challenging.
Very hard.
That's right.
It's like when I talk to my girlfriend and she's just like, she's not happy about something and she gets on a tangent, I'm like, there's nothing I can say to calm her down. There's nothing I can say to someone who's emotional about an idea in the moment until I'm like, okay, let's talk later. Otherwise, me trying to tell them to relax, no, that's not what you're thinking.
Counterproductive.
That's not what, that's not the truth. That's not what you're thinking or whatever. It's counterproductive, right?
Yeah.
Makes them more emotional.
But that's because these states, like these emotional states of mind, they recruit the whole nervous system. So we are actually a different
So your whole
person.
body is out of control.
Your mind, your body. Like, for instance, if you're angry, upset, or stressed, your pupils dilate. This is subconscious. As a consequence of that, you view the world in a kind of like portrait mode, not panoramic, excuse me, portrait mode on your phone, where the thing that's upsetting you is in sharper focus and everything else is blurry. So you actually see.
So what he's saying right here is a very real thing, right? That when your emotions take over, now your vision changes. You don't see the whole picture anymore. You're not able to see where you're wrong and then see where they are wrong, or where you're right, or even where they are right, or where somebody else from a third party is bringing it in. You are so focused on your point, you're so focused on your anger, you're so focused on getting your point across that you are not able to see. This is a natural thing that happens. You can't say it doesn't happen to you. This is something that the Most High made. It's like he made the cannabinoid receptors and they can't shake that. That's a reality. So is this. That you can only focus on that one thing. And now your vision has become singular. And you are no different than an animal now. Than an animal that knows it's hungry and is ready to eat. It doesn't care. It doesn't see that there's food all around. It doesn't care that if it goes by a particular human being, they'll just give them food. No, they see it, they go to it, they eat it. It's that skipping of the step. It's skipping going to the Father and allowing what you feel or what you want to dictate your mouth, your heart, and your actions. And it's hijacks your entire being. When they say to us that you should not hold on to hate because it's only hurting you, that person has gone on about their way. It is because of the emotional toil that it takes on the body, more importantly, on the mind, because you are now focused on that and nothing else matters. Food don't taste the same. You ain't as happy because you feel like that person then got away with something. You need to address that. How much do we allow these things to capture us and make us zombies? That we are talking about the same thing that has no merit, that has no foundation in it, but because it sparked a feeling or an emotion, we can't let it go. Well, it'd be fine if that's all it was and we just was ignorant and we just were stuck on stupid. But no, it starts to break down our immune system. It starts to break down our ability to think and function properly.
The world differently. In addition to that, the timing, that your perception of time, is now faster, so that things outside you seem to be moving more slowly in comparison to how you feel inside. You've experienced this if you were ever in line at the airport or something and it's taking a long time and you're about to miss your flight. It seems like the person in front of you is moving very slowly.
It'll take forever.
Yeah, but time is time. It's moving at the same rate regardless. When you're very calm, or let's say you're fatigued, let's say you're exhausted, you didn't sleep well the night before, things in front of you are going to seem like they're moving really fast. They're saying take off your shoes, putting them on the conveyor. It's kind of overwhelming.
Like, slow down here.
That's right, because your internal clock is moving more slowly.
Yeah.
And so these states of mind, when someone's upset, they recruit their entire being, their way of being. And so one of the reasons why I mentioned that sensation, perception, feeling, thought, and action before is that the actions are very concrete. And because of this reciprocal relationship between the brain and body, brain connects to body, body connects to brain,
Covenant.
we know that when the mind isn't where we want it to be, we need to use the body to intervene.
What does that mean?
So there are two ways that you can shift your brain state quickly. You mentioned one already, which is respiration or breathing. And the reason is there's a direct connection from the brain to an organ in our body called the diaphragm, which is skeletal muscle. The diaphragm is designed to move the lungs up and down, bring in more oxygen, expel more oxygen. And it's unlike other organs like the heart or the spleen or the liver because it's actually made up of what's called striated muscle, just like a bicep, tricep, or quadricep. It can be voluntarily controlled. You can't voluntarily control your heart directly right now. Like you can't say speed up and speed it up or slow it down.
But you can slow down your breathing,
You can
and you can slow down the way you think about things, I'm assuming, or change your thought to something else to help you be more relaxed.
That's right. So one of the reasons why breathing is such a powerful tool for shifting one's state is that A, it's always available for voluntary control. It's just right there. I can decide right now to do 3 inhales, or I can just go back to breathing reflexively. I can just do that at any moment. So the neural real estate, which is in the brainstem that controls breathing, is in a unique position because it's at the kind of boundary between conscious control and unconscious control. I can't do that for my digestion. I can't do that for most everything that happens internally. The other thing is that breathing controls our level of alertness very dramatically. So the faster you breathe, generally, the more alert you are. The slower you breathe, the more calm you're going to be.
The faster you breathe, meaning shorter, quick breaths, or
either way. So we're just to take a brief adventure through the neuroscience of breathing and how it relates to brain states. And there's some fun tools in here. So forgive me for this tangent, but you have 2 brain areas that are responsible for breathing. One is called, for the aficionados, the pre-Buttsinger complex. It was discovered by Jack Feldman at UCLA. It's named after a bottle of wine, so now people won't forget it. And it controls rhythmic breathing. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. It's just rhythmic breathing.
Yeah.
There's another brain area that controls breathing, which is near what's called the peripheral nucleus, which involves breathing anytime there are double inhales or double exhales or triple inhales. And you say, well, why would you have this second brain area for breathing? Well, it turns out when you're speaking or crying or coughing, you need to coordinate your breathing with your speaking. And that means sometimes you need to take multiple inhales or multiple exhales. And this is all happening very, very fast. You don't notice. But there's a very important discovery.
Crazy is that the Most High created a secondary brain to coordinate with the other, but the other is fixated on one thing. So to breathe and to cough. So the rest of the function of your body can do what it does while the part that's scared and fearful can focus on the other thing. And you think that man could recreate something as intricate as this? You think that our creator is of human flesh? As intricate as we are, he's way more intricate and way more.
It was made a few years ago by Jack's lab and by a guy named Mark Krasno at Stanford, who discovered there's a set of neurons in your brainstem, my brainstem, everybody's brainstem, and every mammal's brainstem. It's a very small number of neurons that controls a specific pattern of breathing, which are called physiological sighs. So these are not just sighs where you go and exhale. These are sighs that involve doing 2 inhales and then an extended exhale.
we all do this.
You do this during sleep. Anytime carbon dioxide levels in your bloodstream get too high, in order to get more oxygen into your system. People also do this if they've been crying or sobbing. They'll do this and then they'll exhale. So what's happening with these physiological sighs and why is this powerful? So your lungs are 2 big bags of air, but they actually are made up of a ton of little sacs of air called the alveoli of the lungs. When we are exercising or when we are sleeping or anytime we're doing anything, these little sacs of air eventually start to collapse. And what happens is carbon dioxide builds up in our system, and we experience that as stress. We actually feel the impulse to breathe because carbon dioxide levels get too high. There are neurons that sense carbon dioxide. And then, without realizing it, you do a double inhale and then exhale. Typically, the inhales are done through the nose and the exhale is done through the mouth. So it looks like... And why the second inhale? Well, if you've ever tried to blow up a balloon for a kid at a kid's party, or just blown up a balloon, you sometimes blow into that empty balloon. It doesn't go anywhere. So what do? You do two. You go, and then it pops open. So these double inhales pop open the alveoli of the lungs. They don't explode them, but they pop them open, which pulls carbon dioxide out of the bloodstream, brings oxygen, and then you offload carbon dioxide. So if you watch a dog right before it takes a nap or something, it often will do these. Now, what's cool about these physiological sighs is from work in our lab, and that's still ongoing, I just want to say it's still ongoing, but work in other labs as well, double inhales followed by an extended exhale are the fastest way that I'm aware of to bring the mind and the body into a more relaxed state.
Really?
Yeah.
The fastest way.
So it is saying that there's a process. There's a process in which you double breathe and then breathe out. That this process has been scientifically proven as the process of being able to help you calm yourself, reset your mind, right? To reset your mind. But it goes deeper than that. It doesn't just reset your mind. It is an actual healing mechanism. The Most High's creation is unbelievable when you understand how marvelous our bodies are and what we can do with them when we are tapped in properly. They alluded to the breathing technique. This particular gentleman right here, Wim Hof, right? Wim Hof, WIMHOF. He was the one that pioneered and broke this thing out about perfecting this breathing and perfecting the ability to heal yourself doing the breathing and being able to control your immune system. So we're going to check a little bit of this, and then we're going to get into scripture. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. I'm probably going to do part 2 of this because, as you can tell, this is a subject that we need to go deeper into, and we need to understand the psyche of our minds and how to control that psyche and get it back into the state of health, in the Most High state of mind, right? So let's see Mr. Wim Hof and let him talk about his thing because he was pretty miraculous.
To ice cold water, skin temperature, that's power. And that power is the same power we can learn to embrace and awaken, in which we are able to tackle any stressor in the world. Any stressor emotionally and physically and mentally, whatever you come up, we are built to be able to oppose that, to get through and to learn and not to be afraid, because we have the power of the mind.
Hey everybody, welcome to Impact Theory. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you actually execute on your dreams. All right, today's guest is a real-life superhero. The first time I heard about him, I really could not believe that he was real. He holds 26 official Guinness World Records for feats that were long believed to be fatal or just outright impossible. He's run a half marathon above the Arctic Circle barefoot. He's remained completely submerged in ice for nearly 2 hours, and he climbed Mount Everest wearing only shorts. He's also hung more than a mile off the ground by a single finger, run an entire marathon in the Namib Desert without drinking a single drop of water, and swam underneath the ice of a frozen ocean for almost the entire length of a football field on a single breath. His radical demonstrations of what the human animal is truly capable of have garnered him devotees and skeptics in equal measure, but he has systematically silenced the naysayers by subjecting himself to the rigors of science. He has allowed himself to be poked, prodded, and probed during his insane feats, and in one experiment even allowed himself to be injected with an endotoxin to prove through conscious action he could mobilize his immune system to neutralize the threat, which is exactly what he did. And when people tried to dismiss him as a genetic freak who is simply beyond the rest of us, he taught 12 more people to do exactly what he did, and they all got the exact same results. So please, help me in welcoming the man who can raise his core body temperature while submerged in an ice bath, the Iceman himself, Wim Hof. Welcome to the show, man.
Great intro.
Thank you.
Wow, warm-hearted, not cold.
Not cold at all. But now we're going to get into some of the cold-ass crazy shit that you do, and I want to talk about adaptation. What is it about what you do that triggers the adaptation response, and what adaptation response does it trigger?
The power to adapt to the stressor in general. We lost this connection. It's because we wear clothes all the time and we live in a comfort zone behavior. We think we can control nature, but by being...
Now, what he said was very important. He said that is a connection that we have lost is the reason why we aren't, or regular people aren't able to do what he is able to do. Through his breathing mechanisms, and I'm not going to go into it because I want you guys to check him out. You see his name is Wim, W-I-M, Hof, H-O-F, that through his breathing mechanisms, he's been able to be injected with a disease. And through his breathing techniques and through his power of mind, his state of mind, he's able to release the free radicals in his body to attack any diseases. Through his breathing and his mental meditation, he's able to raise the temperature of his skin so that he can be in Arctic and cold weathers. What he said to you was that the premise of what he does is how to deal with the stressors, that he's created an understanding and a science or a doctrine, if you will, that expresses through breathing the control of stress. Simple. So if stress is the beginning, the nucleus, the precipitator of illness, he's saying that he can stop all illnesses by his breathing techniques because it opens up certain aspects of his brain that when that opens, then the brain releases the chemicals that his body already holds and heals him or makes him warmer or helps him adapt to whatever scenario that he is in. Stress can be used as power. The stress that you go through every day, if you take that stress and put it in the mind state of the power that you have in the Most High, the power that you have in the Most High, and you breathe, and you are focused, and you're meditating on the Most High, and you are learning breathing by seeking Him, you are keeping yourself in a peaceful state. You are constantly keeping yourself in a peaceful state. When people are rowdy around you, there's no reason to be overjoyed. If there's no reason to be utterly upset, then your goal is to be a reflection of peace to them so that they will in turn become peaceful as well. If you can keep your atmosphere peaceful, you're keeping a healthy atmosphere. Health is peace. Peace is equivalent to the thoughts or the belief of safety. Stress is everything in the opposite of peace and safety. It is relationship issues. It is job issues. It is food issues, it is emotional issues, it is happiness issues, but they are stressors. And we are stating that stressors are good because it makes you get up off your ass, right? That's what stress does. It makes you move. But are you mentally strong enough to know that and still be able to create your own stressor without having a real life stressor to get you focused and moving in the right manner? See, the stressor is going to come regardless, whether you create the stressor or unless they create the stressor, meaning the world. See, the stressor is coming. Do you turn that stress into your power? See, the world and the European ideology, they use stress in terms of power. It is called, you know what? I'm going to have the last laugh, or I'm going to hold my hate so much that I'm going to be humble and keep my mouth, but I'm always constantly figuring out a way to get one over on you, figuring out a way to make you feel the pain that I feel. That's not power. That is reveling in pain. That is reveling in the opportunity to bring someone else pain. That is a state of mind of being in pain and wanting to inflict pain, and that results in you ultimately being diseased, full of disease. The stressor can be a positive or a negative, depending on how your cannabinoid receptor, depending on how you receive that stressor, dictates on if that stressor is a good stressor or a negative stressor for you. It's your mental state. If you can girt your loins when that stressor comes in and you can say, you know what? Yeah, I'm slacking, I'm lacking in that corner. And I'm going to take that stressor of the reality that I was slacking in that moment, and I'm going to attack that with the energy, with the pain of feeling of them telling me, holding the mirror in front of my face and stating, you're needing, you're found lacking. If you are in a state of mind that everything happens for a reason in the Most High, then you are no longer mad at the messenger. You are thankful that the Most High sent you a messenger so you can get on your job so that he can give you the blessings that you've been praying for. You may be praying for something, and then a stressor comes to get you in the right state of mind, to get you to cut the fat, to get you to understand what the Father needs you to do in order to get what you want. How do you receive that? Do you take that stressor and say, you know what? I'm pissed at the world because I'm stressed, and everybody gonna feel my stress, or are you taking that stressor with them cojones or them big girl panties and saying, yeah, and I don't like the way it feels, so I'm gonna do what I have to do to make it right? It goes back to Cain and Abel. See, Cain didn't want to take his stressor, which when the Most High didn't accept his blessings. He didn't accept his offering. Cain refused to take that stressor and make it a positive and say, you know what? I'm going to get it right this time. I ain't going to be embarrassed in front of my brother Abel, in front of my daddy and my mama Adam and Eve, and not have my offering accepted by the Most High. But instead, he took it as a negative. And he decided to kill his brother out of his anger because he received the mirror. He received reproach. He received a stressor. Right? It wasn't meant to use. Why did the Most High put the stress and the drama of this world? here if it's not for us to use it. It is for us to level up. When we gird our loins in the truth and we say, okay, I'm lacking. Then we go to the Most High and say, Most High, you told me I was lacking. I get it. But I also know that you're the one that's going to make me whole. See, that's the state of being that I'm in. That's the state of mind that I'm in, that you're going to make me whole. That I can pray unto you and you're going to give me the strength to be whole, to receive the blessing that I want, the blessing that they've taken away from me. Remember, man taking the other way. You ain't going to keep nothing from me. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to show you. I'm going to study harder. I'm going to hit harder. I'm going to do harder because I'm going to show you. You take the stressor and turn it into anger just to show up somebody else. Not for you to come into your glory, not for you to become great in your own right, but just so that you can show somebody else. You should want to be great for yourself. You should want to be great because you want to be great. You should want to be great because the Father made you great in the beginning. And you should be wanting to go back to what He breathed into your lungs. The greatness. He didn't breathe into your lungs for you to be subpar. He didn't breathe in your lungs for you to be mediocre. He gave you His Spirit. His Spirit is nowhere close to mediocre. Oh, Chanel, you're going to want to catch this one. This was a good one tonight. So let's get a little bit more.
Being non-stimulative in our behavior, we lost the connection in the depth of our physiology. Because we are able to adapt about to anything. We are built to be able to adapt without stress into any stressful situation and get a solution. The body knows. But because we got into this comfort zone behavior hundreds of years, our genetics have changed, our physiology has changed, everything has changed. And we lost actually the full power of the mind. And I'm here to bring it back. Impact. You better listen to this conversation. Yes.
I like that. All right, so how do we bring it back?
I did many studies already because I don't like speculation. I go through study, the scrutiny, and let any scientist prove me wrong because I like to go through the truth because I think there is more than meets the eye. I did many studies, and yes, I could resist the bacteria as thought of not being able by humans. We changed medical history by showing a group of people compared to 16,134 people becoming sick after injection of a endotoxemia, and then suddenly 1,200% score within a quarter of an hour, complete control over the innate immune system and the specific, by the way, the adaptive immune system. And how did I learn to do that and to pass it on? Because it's already there in us. It only needs to awaken.
Define the adaptive immune system.
The adaptive immune system is willfully regulating and controlling your T cells and B cells, and they are located in the bone marrow. We are able to willfully...
So he's telling us that there is T cells and B cells in our bone marrow. That's why the dogs love marrow. If you ever... We're trying to get to the bone. Dogs love bone because of the nutrition in the marrow. So he's saying through the power of his mind and breathing techniques, he's able to release T cells and B cells from his bone marrow. But he doesn't take credit for it. He said it was already there.
Influence the bone marrow and to release the T and B cells, which are very specific in the targeting on the bacteria and the virus, and apoptosis, cell death. They created instead of fever and uncontrolled shivering and headaches and being sick, flus, fever and all that. Is the second layer. We got into the third layer, into the depth of the immune system, into the deepest. So willfully being able to get into the bone marrow and release the T and B cells in case of inflammation. It's what and inflammation, I tell you, is the cause of any disease.
All diseases.
All right, that's a lot to dive into. So first of all, let's set aside inflammation for a second. I've heard you talk a lot about that, and we're definitely going to get into it because
So I wanted to give y'all a little briefer on that, and then Wednesday night I'm probably going to go a little more deeper into it. But right now, since we're at 11 o'clock, I want to get to this scripture, and we're gonna do a part 2 on this. We're gonna do a part 2 of this on Wednesday night, right? Because I'm glad everybody's enjoying the show. So that's awesome. So I'm gonna do a part 2 of it because there's much more for us to understand when we talk about the state of being. But as we go here in Isaiah is going to Isaiah was here before Yahshua walked on the earth, right? He's a prophet that was here before Yahshua came, right? Isaiah was in the year y'all know I like to give y'all the year of these prophets, man, so y'all know what we're dealing with. I should remember the page though, since I go to it all the time, right? I think I would do that, right? Here we go. So, thought I was right there. I think I passed it up. Anyway, we know that here we go. Isaiah was in 760 BC and he died in 673 BC. We know Yahshua came in AD. So that means that 600 years, 700 years, Isaiah was born before Yahshua, right? So when he speaks about the prophecy of Yahshua coming, when he's in his meditative mind state, right? And what he's going to do. Then it goes, behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighted. I have put my spirit, my state of being upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. So here he's saying, the Most High said, I put my state of him, the state of being is upon him. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A braised reed shall not break, and a smoking flax shall not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. So Isaiah was not the one to bring salvation unto the Gentile, to bring judgment unto the Gentiles. He was not. The only person that was brought here to do that, who allowed the Gentiles to have salvation, and in order for them to have salvation, they have to have judgment too. I don't know, I know they always talk about Jesus saved, but they forget about the part that judgment comes with salvation. It's hand in hand. So here, Isaiah wasn't the one that brought that to the Gentiles. It was Yahshua, right? And just like they say, the breath of life is Yash, right? That's how you pronounce it. And Yahshua is salvation. So Yash, Yaysh, or as they spell it in concordance, Strong's Concordance 3426, Yesh, Yesh, but it's pronounced Yaesh, right? Same thing as the Most High Yah, right? He said, I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. So it's saying he ain't gonna have no stress. I said that the state of being with the Most High is peaceful. So right here, Isaiah is prophesying of Yahshua coming and being a reflection. And said when he comes, he will have no stress. He said, a bruised reed shall not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. The smoking flax he shall not quench. Let's see what they call flax. Flax. It's concordance Pishna, right? Concordance 6594. And what is Pishta, right? Feminine noun, Pishta. Flax from a plant or wick from a lamp. So he will not put out the lamp. That means the Torah, the fire. So he didn't come to replace the word, right? He came to bring light to it, right? So he will not put out the flax, right? He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. We already have the law. Jacob has the law. We have the scripture, the Torah. Here it is stating that the Gentiles, the ones that are profane, that's giving you the Jesus peace, that's giving you Islam, all these people that's giving you these doctrines, they had to wait on the law. So in the end, they have to cling unto us because we have the law, because we have the scepter. Judah, they have a profaned version. We have the version because when we read these words, we understand them from our Father's perspective, not from someone that has gotten it secondhand. And it says, thus said the Most High of power, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which cometh out of it, us that cometh up out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit of them that walk therein. So it's doubling down that he gave us the spirit. He gave us a state of being. It was pure when he breathed into us. We have allowed it to get profane. And it says, I, the Most High, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a what? Give thee for a covenant. There's a covenant between the brain and the body, between the Most High Spirit and the flesh in which we live in. He says, I, the Most High, have called thee in righteousness. He said, I created you for righteousness. I have called thee in righteousness. I created you out the dirt of the earth to be righteous, and will hold thine hand. He said, I'm walking with you through this, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. So he's saying that as us, as the Jacob, as the seed, he's holding our hands, and he's going to make us the light unto the Gentiles. We just watched the Gentiles try to explain his law through science. We had to go back in and explain to you that the step they're missing is the Father. The step they're missing, we got it. They can't put it in because we own the step. The man told you, Mr. Hoffman said we got disconnected. We went to slavery because we left the Most High. We lost the ability to have our mind be in a state with the Father that we can control all illness and we can defeat all enemies. Every stressor is for our benefit in his state of mind. If we take this oppression, we take this dealing with this government and understand that it is a stressor to bring us back to the Most High, to have us in his state of being. This world is nothing but a giant stressor to bring us back to the being of the Most High. And anyone that's in this world that's bringing it into your house, you have to understand that you are the peace, that you are the judgment, that you are the fire. Ain't nobody got the fire but you, because you got the Most High. And anything they talking about is a lie. The Father said every man is a liar. So they are liars. You not let your spirit be shaken and moved by liars. You bring them the truth, the sword. You give it to them until they bleed. Thus says the Most High. To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Why do we bring the sword of righteousness? Why do we hold the chest plate of salvation, of righteousness? Why we have the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, and the sword? Because we're dealing with demons. You can keep on playing with them and calling them your family. You can keep on playing with them and calling them your best friend. You can keep on playing with them and calling them your children. You can keep on playing with them and calling them your grandparents. But you better know what they are, how the Father sees them. Keeping yourself in a peaceful state is staying in His state. You're in His bosom. That's what Shabbat is about. And it says, the Most High have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and will give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Most High. That is my name. And my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. They are liars. They are liars. And you keep thinking, because they got some gray hair and a cane, that they old and need some love. Oh, because they're a child and they don't know no better, I should take it easy. Oh, because he going through something, I'm not going to give him the word. Oh, because she feeling some type of way. Behold, the former things are come to pass. The new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. When you are in the spirit of the Most High, you will tell them and declare things that will come to them because you've read the prophets. You know what comes from iniquity. This is not rocket science. This is an open book test. You know what happens to iniquity. You telling them what's going to befall them is what has happened to every other person like them that have done what they've done. You ain't no psychic reader. Sing unto the Most High a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth, ye that go down to the sea, and all that is therein, the isles and inhabitants thereof. Let the wilderness of the cities thereof lift up their voices. The villages that Kedar doth inhabit, let the inhabitants of the rock, sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. The Most High says that I created all things, and all things will sing my praise. From a rock to the rock in your brain, you will sing praise. He will break you. Oh, he'll send you enough stresses. Oh, you're going to get it. Oh, you're going to learn today. Oh, you're going to learn today. Let them give glory unto the Most High and declare his praise in the isles. The Most High shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealous like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. What? He said, the Most High shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy. Did you hear that? The Most High said, when he walks forward, that's you. When you walk forward, you bring forth jealousy. People want to understand how you can be so peaceful. How can you walk barefoot on these coals, man? Can't you see everybody out here doing bad? Why are you smiling? I'm at peace with the Most High. Ooh. Yeah, I'm walking on these flames. I'm walking on these coals, no doubt about it. I see it's hot. I even smell my flesh burning. But I got the Most High. I don't feel it. That make them jealous. That make them want to tear you down. That make them want to distract you. That make them want to say, hey man, don't you know you walking on hot coals? Watch out, man. Watch out. You want to throw some water on there? I said, man, I'm going about your business, man. I'm fine. I'm in the Most High. I don't need this. I don't need you. Go on about your business. So they're going to be jealous. And what did the jealous do? What did Cain do to Abel? What did Cain do to Abel? You think they ain't going to kill you? He killed his own brother, his twin. What you think these people going to do with you? You think they different? You think man has changed? He damn sure ain't changed for the good. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holding my peace, the Most High says. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman and will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up all their herbs. Oh, Father, not the herbs. You know what I'm talking about? The Father knows what the herbs does for us. He put it in the punishment. You dig? You dig, man? Y'all not understanding. Most High said, I will waste the mountain hills and dry up their herbs. I will make the rivers islands and will dry up the pools. Everything you need for survival, right? You need mountains, you need the herbs, you need the waters, you need the pools and places that the mountains don't have tributary lakes going to, right? Most High said, I will shut down what you consider life. I have provided all of that for you. The waters that come out of the mountain is a rock, baby. I got water coming out the rock. Is you not seeing his glory every day? When you're looking at these volcanoes that's popping off every other day, and his lava, his magma, the earth's heated crust is boiling over everywhere. Earthquakes are happening in between the volcanoes. And it says, I'm travailing like a woman in pain. In Jacob's trouble, in Jeremiah 30, it says just that the earth will travail and be in pain. You don't think earthquakes is pain? You don't think volcanoes is the earth travailing? And what you worried about? What your concerns are, gang? What's taking you off of your pivot with the Most High? What's taking you off of your rock? What? And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them and not forsake them. You don't have the power to change nobody. All you can do is change yourself and stand on it. People get it so confused. They think they gotta convince other people. No, you be a rock and watch them shake, break, and rattle from around you. But is you strong enough to not have their presence? Or are you strong enough to not have their presence? When you stand on and be the rock, either they're going to be a rock with you or they're going to go somewhere else. Because the Most High is dictating it. You're not making them do anything. When they leave, the Most High has them leaving. When they stay, the Most High has them staying. You got no control. All you got control over is yourself. Every human being, all you have control over is the salvation of yourself. And let me tell you, that's a mighty big hill to have to climb. It's a mighty big hill. You should be satisfied with only trying to get yourself right. You really should. Because there's a lot there for all of us. For every single one of us, there's a lot there. There's a mighty hill. When you climb your own hill and you plant the flag on your own hill, then the rest of your life is you defending that hill and that flag. It ain't about you going and sticking a flag in somebody else's ass and claiming that to be yours. It is to be in your hill, constantly building your mountain, your words, your understanding of the Most High. You are reaching, you are seeking His face. Your hill is supposed to be getting bigger and bigger till it's a mountain, to where that mountain is going past the clouds, to where the clouds is no longer there. You're in the heavens somewhere. You're in the firmament. That's the hill you're supposed to be building in your life, nobody else's life. Stop trying to dictate somebody else's life. Dictate yours and make sure that you're strong enough that nobody can move you off of your dictated hill. That's enough right there. Because the people going to do what they're going to do. You run out there trying to change them and do them, you're going to fall by the same sword that's awaiting them. Awaiting them. And it says, these things will I do unto them and not forsake them. They shall be turned back. They shall be greatly ashamed and trust in graven images that say to the molded images, ye are gods. Hear ye deaf and look ye blind, that ye may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as a messenger that I sent? Ooh, so now the Most High said, well, hold on, partner. You think you deaf and dumb. You don't know how deaf and dumb the people that I'm sending. You don't know about them 7-wall hardheads, them 9-wall boys that don't mind dying. Can you understand when I get Holly Grove and when I get the 9th wall and I get the 7th wall and I get the 3rd wall all on one accord, that they are dying for the Most High, that can't no man, no woman move them? If the Most High allows me to be able to just cultivate them, that they will consider their power. You know how deaf and dumb we gonna be in these streets? No, we don't see nothing. We don't understand no words, no habla English. I got the sword of the Most High and it's cutting. Most High says, who is more blind than my servant or deaf than the messenger that I sent? Who's going to be more laser focused than the one that I sent? Oh, say, who is blind as that is perfect? Who is blind as he that is perfect? Who is blind as he that is perfect? And blind as the Most High servant? Seeing many things, but thou observe it not. Opening the ears, but hear it not. You can talk what you talk to me. You can scream at me what you want. I got the Most High. Yeah, I'm tuned in. I got 2 brains. So while I'm functioning at a low level, listening to your stupidity, I am on the backside of my 2nd brain with the Most High, and I am putting myself in peace. I am praying for you, and I'm praying for you to flee from my presence so that I can get back into my peace mode. That's right, Shotgun Slim. We can get the 3rd, that Holly Grove, that 7, and that 9. And get everything in between, that Seabrook, all of that Pigeon Town, and all the back of town. We can get all of our brothers on this mental understanding, on this mental accord, to be dumb, deaf, and blind for the Most High. Y'all want to know what my kingdom work has been for? It has been for that only. What I pray for at night to come to fruition, that and that only, the Most High. The Most High knows what my prayers are for. My prayers that my people will consider him and unite in his name. And what I do on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays is try to get y'all to understand that this book is for us, that this fire is for us, that this victory is for us. He don't want to give it to nobody else. As a matter of fact, he ain't going to give it to nobody else. It says, the Most High is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Isaiah prophesied Yahshua coming, prophesied of us being the light unto the Gentiles, saying, who will give an ear to this? Will you be the lair to the Gentile? Will you stand and hold your flag? Will you be the soldier the Most High has intended for you to be? Because who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Most High, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore, he had poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it had set him on fire around about. And yet he knew not it, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart. So Jacob, therefore he had poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it had set him on fire round about. So the Most High brought his pestilence to our door. He brought our recompense to our door. All around about us. The fire is all around about us. But when you're with the Most High and you're deaf, dumb, and blind for him, yet he knew not of the fire, and it burned him, but yet he laid it not to heart. Because when you are chastised by the Father in this time, and the fire is upon you, you understand that he's doing it to level you up. It's a lesson for you to learn. It is a stressor that he has put in your life. So you don't take it to heart. You take the lesson. You stand on his grace and mercy and know that you're going to be all right. You're going to be victorious in the end. Glorified bodies. You know, we are talking about who will transform our lowly body to be like his glorious body by the power that enables him even to subject all things to himself. That's speaking of Yahshua being able to transform our lowly bodies into glorious bodies, because all things are subjected unto Yahshua, because the judgment is in him, because he came, as Isaiah said, he came pure. He was pure. Let me go at the top of 42. And it says, he shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the streets. A bruised reed shall not break, and a smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. He shall bring judgment unto truth. when we read our Psalms 35 and we understand that we are asking to be judged too. We are asking to be judged by his truth. What are we asking to be judged by? By his truth. And we get our actions in line so that his judgment is our truth. That we are the law, not under the law. All right? Psalm, so we can end out tonight, let you guys go. I'm gonna just do one Psalms tonight because I was gonna do two, but I done got y'all already past 11:30, so I'm gonna hit y'all with the Psalms 53. And when we do part two, we're gonna go back to that Psalms 51 and get in that deep. But right now we're gonna go Psalms 53. Esther's still in the building. I pray. I know I'm way past the bedtime. I hope Logan is in the bed and sleeping. Isaiah. I know Richie's probably still up. Salute, Richie. I see you in the building, young man. Aaron, my brother in the building. Love y'all, man. See my brother Yawan in the building. I see my man Joe, Big Joe in the building. I see my thug in the building, Shotgun Slim. We gonna do some things, Shotgun. Remember when I called you, brother? I told you a couple of months ago, right? We was gonna make that march. I told you it's about time that we gonna stand in the community. And what we talking about standing for, brother, is righteous war, my brother. So I need you in line, Ak. I need you in line, Ak. Here we go, verse 53. To my chief musician upon Mahath, Muskel, a psalm of David, of Dawid. The fool has said in his heart, there is no Most High. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good. That's the world we live in. This is the beginning of Psalms. This is the first verse. It says, look at here. A fool has said in his heart that there is no creator. There is nobody bigger. They want to make it a woman. It's a man. At the end of the Congress, then it said, our men and our woman, all women. They don't even know what they are. If you ain't a master of one, you ain't a master of none. So if you at the end and you talking about amen and our woman, because you trying to bring everybody in, you ain't got no creator. You amalgamated, you lukewarm, baby. We don't rock with that lukewarm, baby. We know what we is around here. For the good and the bad, baby. Look, David laid up there and got the woman that he fell in love with from looking at her having a shower. He laid up there and sent her husband to war. But the seed between them became Solomon, the smartest man. Did David have to pay for what he did? Yeah, he did. But he ain't perfect, but the Most High used him as our king and said that he's our everlasting king, to the fact that he says he's going to rise David up in the last days to where he's going to be our king again. Ain't nobody perfect. Ain't nobody choir boys around here. We ain't trying. We ain't looking for no choir boy. I think you're snitching if you're a choir boy. You around me. I'm straight up with you. I don't need no contact traces around me. If you ain't been through something, you don't know what it is. If you ain't got, a couple of little gray hairs, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got some understanding, some logic with you, you know what I'm talking about? I don't want you around me. I don't care how clean and studious she is. Give me the dirty dude in the hood, right? Yeah, the one that just came off an all-night flight. I will take him into battle because he's fighting for the Most High. If that brother is listening and that brother's fighting and he's trying to work his way through it, the Most High has grace and mercy for him, other than the one that say, I have not sinned. The one that act like he is perfect in front of the Most High, that he ain't got no damaged goods. The Most High say, I can't do nothing with him. You can't talk to none of my other damaged goods because you don't know their plight. You don't know their plight. You don't know the pain they've been in. I got some pain back here. I can relate to some things. Shotgun Slim can relate to some things. My brother Yawan, we can relate to some things. My brother Aaron, we can relate to some things. Big Joe, you know we done been through the ringer together, baby. We can talk about some things. We can relate to the brothers in the hood and say, yeah, man, I know that's what you wanted to do. I was there. I wanted to do it too. I might have even did it by mistake. But I'm telling you, that was to know when. I didn't get the W. I fed my flesh, but I didn't get the W. I fed my flesh, which only took me worse. The one that can't claim a creator, all they got is abominability in them. All they can be is abominable. They tell you that they don't know if there's a God. They can do no good until they understand that they've been created. Then they can get no understanding of the power of the creation. The Most High looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek the Most High. Every one of them is gone back. They are altogether become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up people as they eat bread? They have not called upon the Most High. A lot of us allow ourselves to be eaten up because we don't know that we got this sword, that we got this big old spirit, this big old big chief behind us that love kicking butt and taking names. So we be afraid to stand on those words because we think somebody's gonna tell us how about our iniquity. That's when you gotta stand and say, I accept my testimony. Yeah, I did that there. I did it a lot. Probably enjoyed it when I was doing it, but I ain't doing it now. As I was that, I am this now. And as I'm telling you this, as that is true, so is this true. So now what we gonna run to? Where we gonna move? Yeah, I was a homemonger. Okay. Yeah, I shot some people. Okay. I even killed somebody. Okay, so where we gonna go from here? The Most High done brought me somewhere. I'm where I'm at. So where we gonna go from here? What you got? See, I gave mine up to the Most High. You dig? He's still working on the anger part with me. We all know. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't about to shoot nobody. I'm done with them days. And I ain't gonna smack you as fast as I used to. I'm done with them days. I'm gonna pray for you now. I'm gonna walk away. You might get some of this fire out of my mouth because most I ain't raised no punk, but I'm not gonna see you know people don't understand grace and mercy because I was never a talker. If I said it, I did it. You can see me in my walk right now, the same way I am right now about the Most High. I was the same way I was about that foolishness. Facts. We allow ourselves to be eaten because we're afraid of our own past, because we don't want to look ourselves in the mirror, because we won't attack that weak part of our body and our mind and our state. You got to get past that. It's all mental, as we've shown tonight. The Father's got grace and mercy and covering for you. Say He's going to hold your hand through this. You got to purge yourself. You got to love yourself. The only way you can love yourself is acknowledge who yourself and what you've done and say, okay, man, I did that. I ain't gonna do that no more. What state of being are you in? And it says, who eat up my people as they eat bread. They have not called upon the Most High. That's why you keep getting eaten. There were they in great fear, where no fear was. Oh man, come on, did y'all hear that, man? Oh yeah, Chanel, I was a hoe. Oh Chanel, I was out there bad. All praise to the Most High. But here, right here, it says there were in great fear, right? They in great fear, where no fear was. For the Most High has scattered the bones of him that encamped against thee. Thou hast put them to shame. because the Most High despised them. You got to realize that your enemy, the Most High, despises because they're into iniquity. The Father can't stand iniquity. He can't walk down the street with it. He can't rock with it. So when you understand you got the big old homie with you, that no matter how much these people act like they win in their iniquity, no matter how much they celebrate in their iniquity, you know what their future is. The Most High don't like that. He gonna get that. He gonna get his get back. Promise that. Because he didn't got to get back in your life. So you know he gonna get it in his. Most High say, you acting like you in fear when you ain't got no reason to fear. The bones of your enemies is already scattered, homie. Like, they done. Like, this is all formalities. Thou hast put them to shame because the Most High had despised them. Oh, that the salvation of Yasharallah will come out of Zion. Woo! Oh, that the salvation of Yasharallah were coming out of Zion. It ain't coming out of the heathen's tent. It ain't coming out of the Gentile tent. It's coming out of Zion. When the Most High bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice. Whoa, it's an oxymoron. Where's my mind going? It says that when you go back in captivity that you're going to rejoice. Yes, we's in captivity, homie, and we rejoicing. I give all praises unto the Most High right now. I'm rejoicing in his name. I'm giving you a reason to rejoice in his name. Oh, that the salvation of Yasharallah was coming out of Zion. Most High said, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm into this nepotism. I'm going to raise up kings out of my children. My children. Seed of Jacob. Yeah, my brother Yuan, his testimony. You know what I'm saying? When I met my brother Yuan, I was in my flesh. I had on my Judas shirt with my fringes, but somebody just stole something from my woman. Sharonda was my woman at the time, y'all. Yes, they had stolen from her. I was in my flesh. In front of my house, I run my block. Boy, y'all better know. My brother Yawan can give testimony. We don't play Hebrews. Your block is your block. You better act like it. You better not have no. Boy, we didn't stop murders in front of our block. We didn't stop drug deals from in front of our block. No guns. By standing on the rock of the Most High. One night I stood in between a dude about to shoot the man across the street, and the dude was right there with no problem, son. Small work for the Most High. My brother Yawan, I'm in my flesh, so I'm running behind her purse. The dudes broke into the car in front of my house. It was disrespectful. My house, homie. You break it. Boy, you know better than coming around here. If not, you're about to learn today. But the Most High had something better for me. Instead of me finding those fools, I found a brother for life in my brother Yawan. That's how the Most High work. I'm in the coming for him. I'm following these dudes all the way up to Leanders. Shotgun Slim, you know what I'm talking about. I'm all the way back there by Carrollton. I go from Carrollton and Claiborne all the way back to the back of Leanders, looking for the boys. How about the car? How about the car? And Brother Yawan is standing with all his hoodlums, with all his thugs, right? My Brother Yawan sitting up there, posted up, right? And all of those little dudes right there that rock with him. And I roll up, look, somebody just jacked this here and took something out in your car, you dig? I'm trying to find him. Dude look like such and such. What's the business? Y'all know where he at? Real talk. And the Brother Yawan, taller than all the dudes there, right? But I mean mugging the other ones, right? But I got my eye on Yawan because he's the tallest one, right? But I got my eye on the short chub, on the chubby one, right? His boy Frank. And I thought I was about to, Frank had it in his mind. I could see it all in his face, right? So I pull up and I jump out on 5 dudes by myself. Y'all gonna give me some answers because I'm following the Most High. Y'all gonna give me some answers in Leanders, in not my hood. I'm from downtown, light skin, up on Leanders. Y'all gonna give me some answers. Because I'm walking with the Most High. The Most High told me, chill, boy. My brother Yuan was just getting in this walk. As I run into them, what I'm looking for, and I'm calming myself as I'm talking to him, my brother Yuan said, Bahashim Hamashiach. I was like, I think I'm standing in front of a whole bunch of ignorant, derelict, about that action, wondering if I'm going to have to throw them things up. And that man says the name of the Most High in Hebrew. I don't know him from Adam, from nobody. He said, Bahashim HaMashiach. What? I say, hold up. Let's switch the whole conversation. I know what I came for. I had to put myself back in the spirit. I had to remember who I was representing with these fringes on. I had to come back into memories. The Father said, I'm going to put a soldier out there to catch you because your boy, you done lost it. You're going off your emotion. See, my emotions had recruited and sold into my flesh and my mind. And I was going to avenge my home, my woman, all of the above. When the Most High got all of that. The Most High got all of that. And I was in my right? I'm right. They broke from my house. They took from my people, right? I'm in the right. Most High say, I'm going to put somebody there because there's another job I have for you, sir. You're not a police officer, Mr. Kayel. You're a fisher of men. Let me remind you of what your job is and show you that there's one out here that needs my name to be edified right now. I need you to realize that you are being a reflection of me with my fringes on and that you need to get in the proper state of being. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So the Most High will get your mind right. Are you so acute in your vision that you can only see what you need to do? Or are you seeing in his vision of what he is showing you in this moment? So we're going to get to part 2 Wednesday night. I pray y'all have enjoyed this. Please go check out the videos and see the whole video through. This is homework for y'all. So when we get on here too on Wednesday night, y'all can come back and forth with me on this. Neuroscience explains how to unlock the power of your mind, which we know is the power of the spirit of the Ruach Hakodesh. Yes, that's what we're talking about, unlocking. The spirit of the Ruach Hakodesh, the Holy Spirit, the Most High. Check that out. Check out your boy's show here on the tricks to make you immune to illness, the Wim Hof, and check out the Wim Hof whole thing, right? Because he really has a lot of stuff that you can learn from, right? Yes, I pray, my brother Aaron, I pray y'all enjoyed this show tonight, man. And this was all strictly from the Most High. From this morning, he told me to give this message, and I've just been trying to cultivate it throughout the day. But obviously, I didn't get it done in one show like I was supposed to. So we're going to have a part 2. But we give all praises into the Most High. Check these 2 videos out so you can further your understanding and your knowledge of where we are right now. Because we all got ambitions, right? Thanking my brother Aaron for giving us this artist, man. And we're going to go out to my man because the ambition that we should have in these end times is the ambition of a rider to the Most High. You are riding to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? You ain't riding nowhere else. We ain't got no other destination. I don't care what they say. We ain't got but one destination.
Yeah. In time. We ain't playing at all.
Real scars while driven in blood cars. It's like it's a rap star, but nothing without cars.
He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The Jews were lost. Do the laws, Jerusalem's ours. I got a truer cause. I can't quit it, I'm too involved. His hands up, cops still drew his arm. Don't do it, Sarge. Let off 50 shots, say you were scared, they won't give you a charge. Let NASA tell it, those ain't chariots, they shooting stars. NASA in Hebrew means deceiver. We don't believe you. I don't believe you walked on the moon or you flew to Mars. The firmament is permanent, it don't move at all. I can prove it all. Scriptures loaded, I shoot them off. No way you can dodge. Just ignore me, you cool as frost. When you stand before that white throne, you'll see who's in charge. Repent. You on the highway to hell and that Uber cost. I write these little raps and post them, but I got newer songs. I ain't drop them, but I promise they my truest bars. 7 trumpets gon' be a coup de grace. I'm a Bruce, so if I do it, I'ma do it large. Wherewithal shall a man cleanse his way by doing what the scriptures say. Incline your ear to the laws and never disobey. Last time we did that, we got shipped away. Christ is coming any day and he ain't finna play. The sinners of his people gon' die by the sword. That's in Amos 9, Hebrew state of mind. Eyes on the sinful kingdom, they twisting up Paul's epistles. Cross me, I'ma forgive you. Pray you repent for the Father get you. In the day of wrath, you think money gon' solve your issue? It's gon' burn with fervent heat, Aki, that's toilet tissue. That same fire gon' purify us. You worth more than silver, they put iron yokes on our necks and said we were only niggas. Yeah. They told us that we were only thugs. I beg to differ, you got royal blood, biblical Jews. They won't tell us, but they know it's us. They try to drug us up, but we sobered up, ain't no controlling us. Sober minds, they had us blindfold, eyes closed, now we got open eyes. I just want my folk to rise. I pray that the fam listen. Wake up the lost sheep, that's my ambition. Read Luke chapter 21 and pay attention. Knowing if they fall for anything, then I can't stand with them. If you listen, seek repentance. Being famous ain't my intention. Yeah. Kahalai. Shabalakam Wabana.
Yes.
Matawa.
Speak them words, Hebrew chawa.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Times.
Yeah, you slip. Did you know that chawa was a Hebrew word? So, did you know that shaka? It means to show. It means to behold. That's why chawa means let them know what the finish is. Yeah.
Wow.
Chawa, baby, is a Hebrew. And y'all gonna tell me that us in New Orleans ain't Hebrews. That we trying to be something that we ain't. You don't know what you are. You don't know what you saying. Haitian is Creole. Haitian Creole comes from Hebrew. Phonetically, language. It's a fact, baby. So, while you're talking, better get you some understanding. Oh, praise the Most High, man. I feel like the dopamines have been dropping all through my head right now. I'm on a cloud. I'm on the 5th dimension with the Father right now. So I give all praises. We will see y'all on Wednesday night. Me, shalom. Y'all get y'all study on. Y'all get y'all meditation on. You get your peace on. Don't let nobody take you out your peaceful zone. Shalom.